Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto time travel just before Minato and Kushina's death part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Damn it! Why is the fog so thick after coming out of the bamboo grove? The black-haired boy in orange goggles picked up his pace, darting through the damp forest as he rushed to rescue the teammate taken by IWA. Just a little over 10 minutes earlier, he had argued with that silver-haired masked guy again, whether they should continue the mission or save their comrade first. He knew that, as a bottom-ranked Chunin, taking on two IWA Jonin alone was nearly impossible, but… Rin! Hold on. I'll save you! Clang! Ding! Clang! The sound of kunai clashing with shuriken rang out from a distance. Obito Uchiha skidded to a halt. Momentum scraped a long mark across the ground beneath his feet. He leapt onto the tallest tree, hiding within its dense leaves. Through the thick fog, he spotted several silhouettes locked in combat. With fog this heavy, if he didn't know the battle at Kanobi Bridge was between Konoha and IWA, he would have thought those Kirigakure creeps were behind it. Throat, spine, lungs, liver, carotid artery, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart. Now, which vital point should I take from you first? Killing intent. An enormous wave of killing intent. Even from this far away, and even though it wasn't aimed at him, Obito still felt a moment of suffocation. His heart pounded out of control. Is that the IWA ninja who took Rin? Damn it! I can't see anything clearly. If only his Sharingan would awaken. But just as Obito tried to speak, a hand suddenly clamped over his mouth. Someone's behind me. When? He didn't have time to think. He pulled out a kunai and stabbed backward. But the person behind him caught his hand immediately. When he tried to attack with the other hand, that wrist was caught too. Idiot, keep your voice down, a deliberately lowered young voice muttered. That familiar arrogant tone, with a little impatience mixed in. That voice was… Obito's tense mind cleared in an instant. Stupid Kakashi. And the one covering his mouth was… Minato-sensei. Sure. Minato Namikaze released his forever scatterbrained student and gestured for silence. Obito nodded. But his mind was spinning. Wasn't Minato-sensei supposed to be supporting another battlefield? They'd only been separated for less than 2 hours. Had he already finished the reinforcement and rushed back? And that stupid Kakashi, didn't he insist on prioritizing the mission? So he did worry about me and Rin after all. Don't worry, Sasuke. From the battlefield not far from where Obito, Kakashi, and Minato hid, a grown man's voice rang out. I won't let my comrades be killed. Even though the thick fog hid the speaker's face, just from those words alone, Obito instantly felt this guy was worth befriending. He even shot Kakashi a glare. That look clearly said, see? That's real resolve. Humph. Kakashi rolled his eyes, not even bothering to respond. As one of the pillars of the Third Shinobi War, Konoha's elite ninja Minato Namikaze was calmly piecing together the information he had. First, the ones fighting in the fog must belong to opposing villages. I won't let my comrades be killed. That line clearly didn't match the style of Kirigakure's Blood Mist, nor did it sound like something from IWA or Suna. Only Konoha and Kumogakure placed such emphasis on camaraderie and brotherhood. And then… Don't worry, Sasuke. Most names in Kumogakure ended with I. Sasuke was undeniably a Konoha-style name. For example, the father of the third Hokage was named Sasuke Sarutobi. But aside from Sarutobi Sasuke, Minato couldn't think of anyone else in the village with that name. Judging by the young man's tone, he seemed to be a Jonin squad leader like Minato. Could he also have run into troublesome enemies during his mission? Secondly, although the environment here was humid, it was already past noon. Fog this thick was definitely unnatural. This must be a technique used by Kirigakure ninja. Ninja art, hiding in mist technique. which meant the battle inside the thick fog was between Kirigakure Ninja and Konoha Ninja. But Kirigakure Ninja appearing here. Was it just a coincidence? Or had Kirigakure and Iwagakure formed an alliance to attack Konoha? If that were true, the situation was far worse than expected, and the third Hokage needed this information immediately. And finally, the part that troubled Minato Namikaze the most. Canopy Bridge was located within the Land of Grass, bordered by the Land of Earth and the Land of Fire, and served as one of the primary battlegrounds of the Third Shinobi World War. Their mission this time was to stop Iwagakure from transporting supplies across the bridge. But nothing about their current environment resembled the Land of Grass. The air carried the salty scent unique to coastal regions, and the terrain clearly didn't belong to either the Land of Fire or the Land of Earth. He was supposed to be racing toward another battlefield to reinforce Konoha troops being overwhelmed by the IWA army. So why, in the blink of an eye, was he suddenly here? Was it space-time ninjutsu? Minato sensed traces of spatial energy around them. It seemed he, Obito, and Kakashi had been drawn here by some unknown space-time force. The Canopy Bridge mission was absolutely critical, nearly determining whether Konoha could win the war. But right now, all they could do was take things one step at a time. Minato felt a growing unease. On the battlefield ahead, the fight had already turned overwhelmingly one-sided in a short span of time. The Jonin captain was trapped. Water release, water prison technique. Water release? So it was a Kirigakure ninja. The fog was so dense that they couldn't see the battle clearly, but the sounds alone revealed plenty. Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura, get the client out of here. The Jonin's voice echoed through the mist. Young Kakashi clicked his tongue and quietly analyzed the situation. That idiot Jonin gave the wrong order. If he's trapped in the water prison, the enemy's clearly strong. In that situation, telling Genin or a Chunin to run only lowers their chance of survival. When he said Chunin, he gave Obito a sideways glance. That arrogant look was full of disdain for a certain Chunin. If they weren't hiding, Obito would have clocked him right then. He still wasn't over what happened earlier, but now that Minato-sensei was here, Rin was as good as saved. Then, it seemed a Konoha ninja from the other side launched an attack. How naive! The enemy's voice was a deep, gravelly adult male's. Thud. Ah, a boy's pain scream? Judging by the sound. Not only had the enemy dodged the shuriken the Konoha ninja threw first, he seized the opening and grabbed him. Then that Konoha youth, Chunin or Genin, who knew, was slammed hard into the ground, producing a heavy thud and an involuntary cry of pain. Sasuke-kun. A girl's voice? High-pitched, trembling, full of fear, a young girl for sure. Then another voice, a boy's, shouted as he charged straight at the enemy? Hey ha ha ha. Idiot! Obito cursed, ready to rush in and help since this outmatched Konoha team looked like they were in real trouble. Wait. A hand stopped him mid-lunge. Kakashi! Obito glared furiously. If Kakashi dared talk about mission priority right now, he'd beat him senseless in front of Minato-sensei. But in the very next instant. Enemy ninja, humph. Fool. Thud. A much heavier impact this time. Followed by another thud, someone hitting the ground hard. Cage. It was probably the boy who had charged in screaming. He'd been struck midair, sent flying in an arc, then crashed to the ground, coughing up bloody foam. Minato drew his special kunai, ready to intervene. The girl's reproachful voice cried out, running in alone, "What were you thinking? Even Sasuke-kun isn't his match. Charging in like that won't change anything. We're just genin. We don't stand a chance." Obito couldn't help relating to her words. Every time he lagged behind, trying to show off but only making things worse, his classmates at the academy would tell him, "Even Kakashi can't do it, what makes you think you can? Aren't you ashamed?" Thankfully, Rin never spoke to him that way. She always cheered him on instead. "Wait, Sakura." The voice belonged to the boy named Sasuke. He went to retrieve the forehead protector. Just moments ago, the forehead protector Zabuza had knocked away and stepped on. Somehow, Naruto had taken it back. Minato Namikaze faintly saw, through the thick fog, a very small figure pushing himself back to his feet with surprising determination. Hey! You, yeah, the no-brows guy! Naruto tightened his grip on the forehead protector, his mind flashing back to the day Iruka-sensei finally acknowledged him, back to the moment he'd first received this precious headband. From a distance, Minato, Obito, and Kakashi stared into the thick fog at the clearly one-sided fight. And yet, in their chests, something stirred, a feeling like charging straight into a headwind, blood boiling with anticipation. Inside the fog, the boy's voice rang out, steady, powerful, and full of resolve. Write my name again in that little assassin handbook of yours. Remember me, the man who will one day become the Hokage of Konohagakure. He took a deep breath, then pressed the forehead protector firmly onto his brow. No matter when or where, he would never forget that he was a ninja of Konoha. I am a Konoha ninja. Naruto Uzumaki. Chapter 002, Team Minato encounters Kirigakure's Zabuza bullying Konoha ninja? Naruto? Sasuke? Minato Namikaze. Kakashi Hatake. Obito Uchiha. The three of them, hidden high in the distant treetops, were shaken to the core. A genin? From Konoha? A future Hokage? Uzumaki Naruto? Obito felt heat explode in his chest. It was like boiling blood surged through every limb, a crashing wave of emotion he had never felt before, true, overwhelming resonance. Even Sasuke-kun couldn't do it. What are you trying to prove by charging in? Remember me, the man who will one day become the Hokage of Konohagakure. Hokage. That was their dream. A dream that would never waver. A dream they believed in with everything they had. Obito's eyes burned, practically desperate to awaken the Sharingan and tear through the thick fog to see what was happening inside. Beside him, Minato, who had just been preparing to intervene, slowly lowered the kunai behind him. Uzumaki? He knew every Uzumaki in Konoha, intimately so. Because at present, there was only one Uzumaki ninja in the village, his girlfriend, Kushina Uzumaki. If there was another Uzumaki boy out there and a genin, no less, the third Hokage wouldn't have kept it from him. Unless the kid came from Danzo's assassination unit, Root. Minato's face grew increasingly tense. They'd been here less than 10 minutes and had already gathered intelligence that made his head spin. Meanwhile, inside the thick fog, Sakura and Sasuke were both stunned by the sheer force of Naruto's presence. Even the client and their team leader, Jonin Kakashi, clearly felt how much Naruto had grown. Sasuke, come here, I've got a strategy. Sasuke blinked in surprise. At a time like this, that idiot actually had a plan? The fog fell silent for over 10 seconds. What do you think you're all doing? Didn't I tell you to run? The moment I got trapped, the outcome was already decided. And our mission is to escort the client. Did you hear me? Run! Take Tazuna-san and get out of here! The Jonin captain shouted, and Obito Uchiha clenched his teeth. What the hell was this stubborn captain thinking? Minato placed a hand on Obito's shoulder and gave him a look. That man has another meaning behind his words. What? Sure enough, the client named Tazuna spoke up right after. What's the point? I brought this whole mess on myself. At this stage, I can't act like some pathetic coward. Forget the mission, just fight with everything you've got. According to the ninja code, during a mission they were tools meant to accomplish their task. Unless the client said otherwise, they couldn't engage in private combat and had to prioritize escorting him. So the Jonin captain had been hinting, trying to coax the client into giving permission. A clever move, he protected the mission while giving his students the freedom to fight. Truly an elite Jonin instructor. Minato nodded, approving him silently. Next. Facing the eager tension from Naruto and Sasuke, Zabuza released a low, mocking laugh from deep in his throat. Naruto, what are you laughing at, bastard? Look at you Konoha brats. You're already genin, yet you're all still so clean. It's laughable. See clean? Naruto tilted his head. Zabuza, when I was your age, my hands were already stained with blood. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura all froze. Kakashi, demon, Zabuza! Oh? So you've heard some rumors. From within the water prison, Kakashi began explaining the origin of the name Demon Zabuza to his students. The hidden mist of the land of water is also called the village of the bloody mist. To become a ninja there, one must pass their greatest trial. Zabuza looked at Kakashi. So you even know about that graduation exam? Graduation exam? Naruto perked up. That sounded familiar. He'd almost failed the clone technique exam 3 times. Yes, Konoha tested the clone technique, but the hidden mist tested, making students who trained side by side slaughter each other, forcing out the most savage instincts and desperate will to survive inside a ninja. Whether it's raw strength, trickery, or sheer opportunism, it doesn't matter. Only the ones who survive become true ninja. Obito and young Kakashi froze, instinctively turning to their teacher, Minato Namikaze. Is that true, Minato-sensei? Obito whispered. Minato nodded. The blood mist infamy had spread because of this very practice. So the enemy hidden within the fog really were from the village of the bloody mist. Minato's brows tightened. Were the mist ninja planning a surprise attack on Konoha, or was this place not even within the land of grass or the land of fire at all? But 10 years ago the Konoha Jonin trapped in the fog spoke up. A single boy forced the mist village to overhaul its rules entirely. After that day, the boy was known as the demon. Demon? Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura echoed the key word from Kakashi. But Minato was hung up on another change. In his memory, the hidden mist had experienced no major reforms a decade ago. Sakura, what did that demon do? That boy, like a demon, showed not a shred of doubt. He slaughtered every single examinee that year. More than 100 of them. For a child who hadn't even become a ninja yet to commit such a massacre, it was unheard of. Not only Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke were stunned. Even Minato, and the 2 boys beside him stared in disbelief. What baffled Minato even more was that he had never heard of such an event in the Mist Village. Nor had he ever heard the title Demon Zabuza. What exactly was happening here? While they were all frozen in thought, Demon Zabuza's killing intent once again suffocated Sasuke and Naruto. In an instant, he targeted Sasuke, slamming him underfoot. Damn it! Seeing Sasuke crushed beneath Zabuza's heel, Naruto couldn't bear it anymore. Shadow Clone Technique. A rapid barrage of boom, 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 echoed nonstop. Minato's eyes widened in shock yet again. Not only was the Shadow Clone a B-rank jutsu most genin couldn't even use, just from that endless series of pops, Minato counted at least 50. 50 clones. Even Kakashi, son of the legendary genius White Fang, who had earned the rank of Jonin at age 12, couldn't do that. Creating that many shadow clones wasn't about technique. It was about chakra reserves. That was why, when the second Hokage expanded the technique, it became known as the multiple shadow clone technique, raised from B rank to A rank. It was even placed in the scroll of seals by the first Hokage as a forbidden jutsu because improper use could kill the user. To have that much chakra at such a young age. Naruto Uzumaki. Only the natural chakra of the Uzumaki clan could explain it. Alright. Let's go, everyone. With 50 shadow clones, if this boy grew to his full potential, he could form an army all by himself. But right now, he was still too inexperienced. Zabuza swung his massive sword, scattering every clone. One by one, they crashed down and burst into smoke. But the boy's plan wasn't over. Sasuke! Catch! Naruto hurled the Fuma Shuriken they'd obtained for this mission. Sasuke grabbed the massive folding shuriken, his expression sharpening instantly. So that's it. Then. Fuma Shuriken, Shadow Windmill. The folded shuriken spread open and spun like a roaring wind toward Zabuza. No. Not toward the Zabuza in front of them. Toward the water clone restraining their Jonin instructor behind him. However, you kids are far too naive. Despite maintaining the water prison, Zabuza calmly caught the Fuma Shuriken thrown by Sasuke with his free hand. What happened? Obito rubbed his eyes hard, unable to see through the dense fog. And that motion actually let him see a faint outline, a human silhouette in the mist. Energy that had been building within him surged through his mind, needing only a single spark. His eyes were waiting for the moment they would clear away the haze and return to their true brilliance. But clearly, that moment had not yet arrived. Right now, he could only make out blurry shapes moving within the fog. Beside him, Kakashi said, "One Fuma Shuriken isn't enough to make a difference." "No! It's not just one." Obito's Sharingan hadn't awakened yet, but his eyes still shone as he stared into the heavy fog. "What? You can actually see?" "Not clearly. The first Fuma Shuriken had a second one hidden in its shadow. TCH. And that guy dodged that one too." Obito could barely make out a tall, lean man. One of his hands was gripping something shaped like a sphere, while the other caught the first shuriken. The second shuriken should have struck him, but he suddenly sprang upward, pulling one leg in tight to dodge it completely. "Damn, that was close." Obito clicked his tongue in frustration. But in this dense fog, his vision could only go so far. He couldn't see the confident smirks, those got him. Smiles, forming on Sasuke and Naruto's faces. Then, boom! The second Fuma Shuriken Zabuza dodged. Transformed? No, not the shuriken itself. That Fuma Shuriken was Naruto Uzumaki in disguise. So that's what they were planning. Obito was stunned. So this was the strategy of that boy who, just like him, dreamed of becoming Hokage. What the hell just happened? Kakashi, despite just becoming a Jonin, was still a kid a year or two younger than Obito. He whispered in frustration, demanding to know what Obito had seen. Obito explained the vague silhouettes he'd caught, adding his own guesses and analysis to Minato-sensei and Kakashi. Both silently praised the boy named Naruto Uzumaki. The water prison broke. Naruto attacked the enemy from behind and forced him to release the Jonin trapped inside. Minato asked, "Obito, can you see what that Jonin looks like?" Not really." Obito rubbed his eyes again, and for one sudden instant, his vision cleared. But the figure he saw left him completely speechless. Chapter 003, Minato Guesses Naruto's Identity. Konoha White Fang. The title slipped out of Obito before he could stop himself, and beside him, Kakashi Hataki's pupils shrank sharply. Konoha's White Fang, Tsukumo Hataki. His father, who years ago had been condemned by the entire village for breaking the rules, choosing to save his comrades instead of completing the mission. Because of that betrayal in the eyes of the village, he was slandered endlessly and finally, one night several years ago, he took his own life in despair. Minato Namikaze had told Obito recently that Konoha's White Fang was Kakashi's father. Because of that, Obito had awkwardly promised that he would try harder to cooperate with Kakashi, to tolerate him more, and to understand him better. Thinking of how deeply that title must affect Kakashi, Obito quickly turned and apologized, flustered. "And maybe I saw wrong. Sorry." Yet even as he said it, for that brief moment, he truly felt like he had seen his idol, Tsukumo-senpai. Because the figure who escaped the water prison thanks to Naruto's strategy, and then blocked the Fuma Shuriken with his own hand as the furious enemy moved to strike, had the same silver hair and wore the same Konoha Jonin uniform as Tsukumo-senpai. Minato and Kakashi were too far to see clearly, their eyes catching only occasional movement inside the fog. Only Obito could make out slightly more detail through the haze. Meanwhile, Sakura, Sasuke, and the others stood within the fog itself. Though their vision was blurred by a layer of white mist, they could still see relatively clearly. Seeing Naruto rescued, Sakura called out emotionally, "Kakashi-sensei!" Her voice stunned the three hiding in the treetops. They even wondered for a moment whether their hearing had been distorted by the hiding in mist technique. But no. Hiding in mist only impaired visual clarity. It wasn't a genjutsu that altered thoughts or hearing. "Obito, I didn't mishear that, right? Kakashi-sensei?" "Keep your voice down, idiot!" Young Kakashi snapped, irritated and arrogant. "Do you want to drag the enemy over here?" "But that girl called you sensei." "She was calling that idiot Jonin leading them." "But no one else in Konoha has such a weird name as Kakashi, right?" "Ha! You got a problem with my name? Dead weight." "You." Minato's voice carried quiet authority. "Enough. Calm down, both of you." He sighed, pressing a hand to his forehead. He couldn't help thinking how Kakashi was usually a brilliant prodigy, but whenever he ran into Obito, he instantly transformed from genius into a little firecracker. As their Jonin instructor, Minato felt caught between laughter and exhaustion. However, Minato was absolutely certain, apart from the Kakashi standing beside him, there was no other Jonin in Konoha named Kakashi. And when he considered the space-time fluctuations he'd sensed earlier, there was only one conclusion he could draw. The future. During their mission at Canopy Bridge, the three of them must have accidentally triggered some forbidden space-time ninjutsu, and as a result, they were transported into the future world. That would explain why he hadn't heard about Kirigaku's reforms 10 years ago. And why the name Demon Zabuza was completely unfamiliar to him. Then, could the name Naruto Uzumaki possibly be? A possibility stirred in Minato's heart, sending ripples beneath his calm facade. Naruto, that strategy was brilliant. Kakashi praised his student. You've all grown so much. He pried the Fuma Shuriken from Zabuza's hand. Both men leapt backward at nearly the same moment, forming hand seals. Naruto, Kakashi-sensei's eye. That's Sharingan? Sasuke's expression tightened. That dojutsu was difficult even for those born into the Uchiha clan to awaken. But more than the two of them, Obito, hidden in the distance, was utterly shocked. Sharingan? That meant the Jonin leading the team was from the Uchiha clan? Obito narrowed his eyes, forcing all his attention into his vision. Chakra unconsciously began gathering toward his eyes. He could faintly see two figures, one with a massive sword strapped to his back, the other with messy silver hair wearing clothing similar to Minato's Jonin uniform. The two were separated by several meters. He couldn't see clearly, but it looked like they were forming hand seals? Hare monkey hare rat boar. Bird ox horse snake rat. 44 hand seals. When the final one completed, Kakashi and Zabuza shouted at the same time. Water release, water dragon bullet technique. Two enormous silver-blue water dragons burst out of the lake through the white mist, colliding with explosive crashes across the water's surface. The impact sent waves surging, thickening the already heavy humidity. The roaring tide swept broken wood and debris all the way to where Minato and Obito stood beneath the trees. Thank goodness they were above ground, otherwise they'd have been soaked to the core. So cool. Obito, the only one who could somewhat make out the battlefield, instantly felt a surge of respect for the Jonin leader he had struggled to accept just moments earlier. Who cared if he had the same name as that stupid Kakashi? In the ninja world, strength was everything. After barely a dozen exchanged moves, the two shinobi clashing atop the lake leapt back at the same time. And then, perfectly synchronized again, they both raised their right arms. It's the Uchiha Sharingan's copying ability to mimic techniques with such flawless precision. Even Big Brother Fugaku never told me we had someone this skilled in the clan. Obito was practically vibrating with excitement. Kakashi, standing beside him, immediately splashed him with cold reality. The Uchiha clan head is busy. Why would he waste time telling every little detail to a dead lass like you? Obito choked on rage. Will you die if you stop being sarcastic for 1 second? Yes. Stupid Kakashi. Minato covered his face. He truly couldn't imagine how these two would ever get along in the future. At this rate, if he weren't here, they would have put on a full comedy act already. But Minato's gaze drifted toward the figures in the mist, and his face darkened. The Sharingan and Kakashi? Why would a Kekkai Genkai belonging exclusively to the Uchiha clan appear in Kakashi's possession? Chapter 004, Obito collapses, and Team Minato is forced to reveal themselves before Team Kakashi. Sharingan? Why would the Kakashi of the future have a Sharingan? And Minato's gaze shifted toward the far edge of the mist. Hidden there was a ninja wearing a Kirigaku Anbu mask, staring right back at them. So they'd been discovered. He didn't want to interfere with the future, but their presence here might have already affected its natural course. If they ended up having to act, then to prevent disrupting both the future and the past, sealing each other's memories might become necessary. Minato made the decision quietly in his heart. From within the mist, the Jonin called Kakashi-sensei spoke again. Your eyes may look fierce, but I've already seen through everything about you. Zabuza, Copy ninja Kakashi. Your reputation is well earned. But copycats are still just copycats in the end. Yet before he could even use the technique he had prepared. Water release, great waterfall technique. Kakashi's voice rang out. How? Impossible! My ninjutsu shouldn't lose to a copied one unless. Zabuza realized the truth too late. That bastard had already copied all kinds of water release jutsu from others. The Demon of the Mist, famed across nations, fell in only a few exchanges simply because he had underestimated his opponent. He was blasted away by the roaring waterfall, slammed against a distant tree with zero dignity. The water level surged so high it almost reached the tree branch where Obito and the others were standing. Moments later, the masked mist Anbu Minato had noticed earlier struck Zabuza with a specially crafted saban, ending his life. Obito, there was someone else lying in ambush. You idiot, that guy has been standing there the whole time, young Kakashi muttered. Obito. He hadn't noticed a thing. As the jutsu caster lost consciousness, the hiding in mist technique finally dissipated. The three watching from afar could finally see the entire battlefield clearly. Minato Namikaze looked at the silver-haired jonin on the battlefield, along with the three genin with pink, blonde, and dark blue hair. His heart tightened, so it truly was what he suspected. They had been pulled into the future by some kind of space-time forbidden technique. Obito stared at the jonin leader. No doubt about it. That guy really looks like Senior White Fang. Idiot! Did you forget that ninja has your clan's Sharingan? Kakashi sighed. Obito, but there really isn't anyone named Kakashi Uchiha in our clan. Kakashi choked on his breath. He had never imagined anyone would associate his name with the Uchiha clan. Thanks, but I happen to like the name Kakashi Hatake. I'm not changing my surname. I'm not talking about you. Stupid Kakashi, I'm talking about that jonin leader. Too lazy to argue any further, Kakashi looked to Minato. Minato-sensei, is that person really a Kirigakure Anbu sent to kill Zabuza? Obito also looked at the masked mist pursuer. The figure seemed only 2 or 3 years older than him, with a soft, gentle voice. Was it a girl? Minato shook his head. Unlikely. The Senban hit only non-lethal pressure points. That Zabuza is most likely faking his death. That's a guy, Kakashi cut in immediately, guessing exactly what Obito was thinking. Anyway, it has nothing to do with us. Minato-sensei, we should get back to the Canopy Bridge mission. Right. Minato-sensei, we have to save Rin first. She was taken by IWA. I already said the mission comes first. Why are you? The two were about to start fighting again when Minato had to step in. If we were able to go back, Sensei would definitely save Rin. Obito's face lit up, only for the smile to instantly freeze at Minato's next words. But the problem is we're not anywhere near the Canopy Bridge. I believe we're under Kakashi and Obito's stunned gazes. Minato exhaled slowly and stated the truth. Somewhere in the future. The future? Then. Both Obito and Kakashi turned their eyes toward the tall, thin, masked silver-haired Konoha jonin in the distance. His name was Kakashi. Silver-hair, mask, elite. Could that person be? The two exchanged a look. Is that stupid Kakashi or me? And that kid over there, could he be stupid Kakashi's or my future student? Obito raised his hand like a model student. Minato-sensei, why does future Kakashi have a Sharingan? He himself, an actual, proper Uchiha, still hadn't awakened his. Don't tell me Kakashi is really Kakashi Uchiha? Minato didn't want to know what the future held. Knowing too much could warp their judgment and lead to consequences they couldn't undo. But at this point, he couldn't hide it from Obito and Kakashi anymore. They had fallen into this future world, and no one knew when they would leave. What Minato didn't realize was that from the moment they appeared, their presence had already altered part of the future. Elsewhere. The jonin leader Kakashi Hatake crouched down and pressed 2 fingers to Zabuza's carotid artery. No signs of life. But something felt wrong. Not just because of the sudden appearance of a Kirigakure Anbu, but because something was off about him. As someone outside the Uchiha clan who had to rely on precise calculations every time he used the Sharingan, Kakashi had an extremely accurate instinct for chakra management. By his own estimates, he should have been completely drained by now. He should be collapsing from chakra exhaustion any moment. Yet the sensation in his body told a different story. His chakra wasn't even close to empty. That fullness didn't match someone who had just cast 2 high-level water release techniques. It felt as if half the chakra used had been drawn from someone else to pay the cost of his jutsu? While Kakashi pondered this, he had no idea that far away, an Obito Uchiha from a parallel world, standing just close enough to his own counterpart's eye, had his chakra mysteriously borrowed, draining his reserves to zero in an instant. Obito felt his body go soft, and his vision went black. He fell straight from the tree, crashing onto the ground. Thud! Who's there? Sasuke immediately hurled several shuriken toward the source of the sound. Chapter 005, Across Time and Space, Sasuke and Kakashi acting tsundere without the tsundere? Just as several shuriken were about to pierce the unconscious Obito Uchiha, 2 figures, 1 gold, 1 silver, suddenly appeared, each wielding a kunai to deflect the shuriken fired by Sasuke. Before they could even make out the 2 figures' faces, Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura instantly stepped in front of the client, forming a protective manji-shaped battle formation. Meanwhile, their Jonin instructor, Kakashi Hatake, completely froze the moment he caught sight of those 2 figures. With just a single glance, Kakashi, standing closest to his 3 students, reacted far slower than even Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura. It was as if time had stopped. As if the world had lost its color. For one breathless second, his heart refused to beat. Taking advantage of the distraction, the Kirigakure and BU operative whisked the not actually dead Zabuza away with the body flicker technique. Kakashi didn't even look at them. His gaze remained locked on the 2 distant silhouettes. Sensei? His lips quivered, the voice that escaped barely above a whisper. His eyes were filled with nothing but shock and disbelief. His trembling hand rose toward his face, index and middle fingers extended while the rest curled inward, a single-handed ram seal. Kakashi muttered, "Release." Sakura and the others watched as he used the genjutsu dispelling seal, then glanced again at the blonde figure in the distance. He's wearing a Konoha forehead protector, dressed in a standard Konoha Jonin uniform, but that face. Naruto rubbed his chin, feeling his guard slip now that the stranger looked like a Konoha ninja. After thinking it over for a few seconds, he pointed straight at Minato Namikaze and blurted out, "Hey dude! You look just like the 4th Hokage, Databeo." Young Kakashi stiffened when he heard the blonde brat call Minato-sensei the 4th Hokage. If this really was the future, then judging from Minato-sensei's outstanding achievements in the 3rd Shinobi World War, it wasn't impossible that the 3rd Hokage would step down and pass the mantle to him. "Minato-sensei!" he exclaimed, even more thrilled than Minato himself. "Congratulations!" Minato looked helpless. Not only was he not the Hokage yet, even if he was destined to become one, this accidental meeting with future Kakashi and his students might very well distort that future entirely. Across from him, the older Kakashi had tried genjutsu release 3 times with no effect, finally forced to accept the truth. His eyes widened, trembling with disbelief as he stared fixedly at Minato Namikaze. Even his body shook slightly under the weight of the realization. Is this reality? Is that truly Minato-sensei? Minato said, "Sorry. Because we appeared, those 2 managed to escape. But it seems we'll still need to seal each other's memories later." Kakashi's lips tightened beneath his mask as he gave a faint shake of his head. Whether he didn't care about Zabuza's escape or was instinctively rejecting the idea of having his memory sealed, no one could tell. Sasuke, cautious as always, wasn't about to believe he would randomly encounter the 4th Hokage, a man who had died years ago. And having never seen the 4th Hokage in person, he also couldn't rule out the possibility of an enemy impersonation, one executed so perfectly it bordered on impossible. "Who are you? And what are you hiding behind you?" he demanded. The younger Kakashi frowned. A sharp-tongued genius like him had never been questioned like this by a fellow Konoha ninja his age. He immediately snapped back at Sasuke, "Don't you know to introduce yourself before asking someone else's name? How did your sensei, future me, teach you?" Sasuke might not have been worshipped by every student in the academy, but he was undeniably among the top. As an elite of the Uchiha clan, his pride absolutely refused to let anyone step on it. "Hiding your head while showing your tail. And you expect others to state their names first? The words "you're not worthy" weren't spoken outright, but they were unmistakably present in Sasuke's tone. Two gifted young ninja from entirely different eras glared each other down, tempers flaring, sparks ready to ignite. Minato let out a helpless sigh, patting Kakashi on the shoulder with a soft, calming smile. He then addressed the sharp-tongued black-haired boy with a friendly but composed expression. "Behind me is another one of my disciples." Minato Namikaze stepped aside, revealing Obito Uchiha lying unconscious on the ground. He suddenly fainted and fell from the tree. "Sorry for causing trouble." The moment the older Kakashi caught sight of that familiar deep blue tracksuit, his pupils shrank violently. Decades of standing before the memorial stone in silent repentance. The comrade whose remains were never found. The boy who died on the Canopy Bridge mission while saving him, before he ever got the chance to fulfill his own dreams. "Obito?" The older Kakashi's voice cracked as he called out the name of the boy on the ground. But even more explosive than Kakashi's reaction was someone else's. The instant Sasuke spotted the red and white fan crest embroidered proudly on the back of that deep blue tracksuit, he went rigid. Sasuke Uchiha threw his voice like a blade at the blonde man and the silver-haired boy beside him. "Uchiha? Why is that person wearing Uchiha clan attire?" Chapter 006. No way. This Tsundere, sharp-tongued kid is actually Kakashi-sensei? Young Kakashi frowned. "Are you stupid? Obito's an Uchiha. Of course he wears the Uchiha clan uniform." He assumed Sasuke was some spoiled young master from the future, looking down on Obito, an orphan and the Uchiha dead last, so his tone towards Sasuke was downright rude. But Sasuke ignored the provocation and only shouted even more hysterically. "Stop joking. If you keep messing with me like this, I'll kill you." Young Kakashi, clueless that the Uchiha clan no longer existed in this era, was 1 second away from calling Sasuke insane. His razor-sharp tongue had already prepared dozens of perfectly humiliating, profanity-free comebacks, ready to fire in rapid-fire bursts, until Minato Namikaze placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "Since we've already met," Minato said, "I think it's best if we seal each other's memories when we part, Kakashi." Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto all froze when the man, who looked almost identical to the fourth Hokage, casually addressed Kakashi-sensei by name. Sakura glanced at their silver-haired, hopelessly delinquent jonin. "Kakashi-sensei, do you know him?" Kakashi opened his mouth but couldn't find the words. He didn't understand what was happening any better than they did. Enough worrying. Didn't Minato-sensei say he'd seal everyone's memories later? Young Kakashi's arrogance didn't soften even when dealing with his future self. "To you, we're from the past. I'm Kakashi Hatake. That idiot lying on the ground is Obito Uchiha. And this is Konoha's Yellow Flash, Minato-sensei. The man who'll probably become your fourth Hokage." Minato scratched his cheek shyly at his student's blunt praise. Naruto's eyes bulged as he looked from the much younger blonde man, who looked nothing like the face on the Hokage rock, to the skinny, masked boy standing beside him, who somehow managed to look even cockier than Sasuke. "Wait, you're Kakashi-sensei?" "No way? This is our delinquent jonin instructor?" Sakura nearly screamed. Kakashi-sensei was this handsome as a kid? And he looks like such an elite. Though still just a tiny bit less cool than Sasuke and all. Kakashi? Sasuke's eyes widened as he jerked his gaze between the young Kakashi and the present Kakashi. How could this arrogant brat, who looked like he believed the world owed him money, possibly turn into that lazy, fish-like Kakashi who was late every single day? Did that mean everyone eventually turned into the boring adults they hated? He imagined himself becoming future Kakashi's slacker form and immediately felt crushed, his heart screaming rejection. Young Kakashi understood exactly what they were thinking and snorted with disdain. "You sure you're not an imposter? There's no way I'd turn into an adult like you. Impossible." Kakashi looked at his younger self with something close to pity. Because he'd lived through everything while this boy had lived through nothing. He found his younger self painfully ignorant enough to hurt. He then turned his head toward Minato, whom he hadn't seen in 12 years, and whispered softly, "Sensei." His voice was hoarse, the kind of hoarseness that came from restraining emotions he couldn't afford to release. Young Kakashi clicked his tongue. "How long has it been since you last saw Minato-sensei?" Even if he became the fourth Hokage, you could still visit him at the Hokage Tower. At 12, he couldn't possibly imagine the future. But Minato, a seasoned elite ninja, understood the implication behind Kakashi's expression perfectly. Kakashi, how old are you now? Minato asked the older Kakashi. 26, sensei? Minato nodded. So they had traveled 14 years into the future. Troublesome. He had no idea how they would return, when they would return, or whether time would continue flowing normally in their own world. If both timelines continued moving at the same pace, the Canopy Bridge mission would certainly fail. He had no way to contact their original world either. Their only hope was that when they returned, it would align with the precise time and place they'd left. He studied Kakashi, now taller than him by a full head, and noticed his left eye covered by the forehead protector. Earlier in the fog, he'd heard people call him Sharingan Kakashi, Copy Ninja Kakashi. Clearly, Kakashi had lived through a great many hardships. Otherwise, how could the sharp-tongued prodigy he knew wear such a heartbreakingly heavy expression? Judging from Kakashi's reaction upon seeing him, Minato deduced one thing. He probably hadn't lived long as Hokage. Poor Kushina. Widowed at such a young age? Was she okay? Was she okay? Was she okay? No, this wasn't the time to worry about that. More importantly, he looked healthy, meaning he likely hadn't died of illness. As Hokage, he wouldn't have been taking dangerous missions either. So the only possible cause of death was an exceptionally powerful enemy attacking Konoha. And as Hokage, he would have stood at the front, even if it meant sacrificing himself. Minato-sensei, young Kakashi suddenly called out. His hand, wrapped in a fingerless glove, pressed firmly against his student's back and pushed him 2 steps forward. Naruto, already reeling from seeing the fourth Hokage he admired so much appear out of nowhere, stiffened even more when Kakashi shoved him out from the line. He turned back, pretending to complain, though it was mostly to hide how nervous he was. What are you doing, Kakashi-sensei? Don't just shove me out like that, Databeo. A sadness Kakashi couldn't hide flickered in his eyes. Seeing his teacher, who should have been dead for 12 years, standing here alive made his chest ache. He couldn't stop himself from wanting Naruto to meet his real father, even if either of them knew the truth. At the very least, between the boy's surname and Kakashi's actions, Minato-sensei would be able to guess Naruto's identity. And besides, there was that bright golden hair just like his, and those clear blue eyes. Sensei, this is Naruto Uzumaki. His Adam's apple bobbed beneath the mask, the tightness in his throat making it difficult to speak. He admires you and sees you as his goal. His personality and his dreams are just like Obito's. Kakashi glanced at Obito Uchiha lying on the ground, afraid that if he said another word, his voice would break. To become Hokage, right? Minato smiled. We heard him earlier. He crouched down, meeting the eyes of the smallest, thinnest member of Kakashi's team, Naruto Uzumaki. Chapter 007 Minato's actions toward Naruto shocks Sasuke and Sakura. Minato Namikaze crouched down, meeting the flustered and bewildered gaze of Naruto Uzumaki at eye level. In just a moment, he understood exactly why his student, his future Kakashi, had pushed this child toward him. He had already suspected Naruto's connection to him long before this moment. And now, combined with Kakashi's words, Minato confirmed 2 things. First, Naruto had no idea about their relationship. And likely, for some special reason, he wasn't allowed to know. Meaning Minato himself shouldn't tell him now either. Second, his future self hadn't been able to watch Naruto grow up. He had missed every birthday, missed taking him to enroll in the academy, missed being his after-school ninjutsu tutor, missed every daily greeting and every reminder. Naruto, don't be picky with your food. Eat well so you can grow up strong. Take a bath every day to keep your body warm. Don't stay up too late, you have to get enough sleep. Minato paused, his voice overflowing with tenderness. Whether it was his tone, his words, or the simple act of crouching down to look Naruto in the eye, it left Sasuke, Sakura, and even young Kakashi staring wide-eyed. Oh, and make friends. He glanced at Sakura and Sasuke beside Naruto. The moment Kakashi pushed Naruto forward, Minato's suspicion had been confirmed. You don't need many friends. Just a few who are sincere and trust each other, That's enough. He ruffled Naruto's golden hair, identical to his own, then looked into his bright blue eyes. And study hard, respect your teachers. Thinking of Kushina's grades, he added with a slightly embarrassed smile, it's okay if you're not good at everything. Everyone has things they struggle with. Like how I'm absolutely terrible at arguing with Kushina. You can also focus on what you're good at, refine your strengths even further. Like how I'm really good at naming jutsu. Oh, and the 3 ninja prohibitions. Keep your mission pace safe, never gamble with it. Don't drink until you're 20, it hurts your body and leads to trouble. As for romance, I've only ever loved Kushina. I really don't have, or dare have, any other experience, ha ha ha. Anyway, if your dream is the same as mine and Obito's, to become Hokage and protect the village we love so deeply. Minato paused. Then hold on to that dream. Hold on to your ninja way. And I believe that one day, you'll make it come true. Sakura was utterly stunned. No way. No freaking way. The 4th Hokage? The village's great hero? Putting that kind of trust in idiot Naruto? Even Sasuke looked shaken, his widened eyes bouncing between Naruto and the 4th Hokage. Young Kakashi's usual aloofness shattered completely. He stared at Naruto, then at his future self, desperately wanting to know how this kid, who looked just as hopeless as Obito, could be so significant. Naruto himself was completely dumbstruck. He turned to Kakashi-sensei, his chest aching with a strange, bitter tightness as he heard those words. Just as he sucked in a breath, unsure what to say, Sasuke's gaze once again caught the fan crest on Obito's back. A sudden realization exploded in his mind. He lunged forward and grabbed Minato Namikaze's sleeve. Hey! I'm asking you, are you really the 4th Hokage who came here from the past? Young Kakashi froze for a moment, then immediately seized Sasuke's wrist with an angry glare. What are you doing? Let go! But Sasuke didn't spare him a glance. He ignored him completely, eyes filled with hatred, and beneath it, a buried, wounded despair, as he stared straight at the 4th Hokage. I have something to ask you. Something extremely important. Before Minato could respond, Sasuke blurted out rapidly. I am Fugaku Uchiha's son, Sasuke Uchiha. I beg you, when you return to your time, tell my father, tell him to. He swallowed down that tiny flicker of pain, eyes consumed with pure, burning vengeance. Kill Itachi Uchiha. Young Kakashi blinked in confusion. He remembered Obito mentioning several times that Fugaku Uchiha was the clan head of the Uchiha. Thinking Minato might not know, he shot Sasuke a glare. Fugaku Uchiha is Obito Uchiha's clan head. You want the clan head to kill a fellow Uchiha? He deserves it. Sasuke snarled. He has to die. The sooner the better. He's a demon. A madman. Naruto and Sakura didn't know exactly what had happened, but Sasuke's breakdown frightened them. Sasuke was always the cool, arrogant one, the guy who made Naruto so mad he'd chew his own shirt. But grabbing the 4th Hokage and losing control like this? They had never seen Sasuke like this. They both remembered Kakashi-sensei's first day introduction, when Sasuke had said his ambition was to revive the Uchiha clan and kill a certain man. Sasuke! Naruto stepped forward. You've gotta at least tell the 4th Hokage what happened. Chapter 008 Sasuke begs Minato Namikaze to kill Itachi Uchiha. Sakura was startled to realize something. Whenever Naruto was being unreliable, Sasuke-kun was usually the one patching things up. But in moments like this, when Sasuke was so unhinged that even she felt afraid, it was Naruto who stayed calm and tried to steady him. These two. They were perfect for each other. They would become the best partners. This feeling surged in her chest out of nowhere, like a sixth sense whispering a glimpse of the future. Minato Namikaze had already been stunned when Sasuke said he wanted to kill Itachi. He kept his voice as gentle and relaxed as possible, hoping to soothe the boy before him. He said, Naruto is right. Sasuke, was it? If you don't tell me what truly happened, there's no way I can speak to Fugaku-senpai and Mikoto-san about this. Mikoto? Sasuke froze. You know my mother? You know Mikoto Uchiha? Minato's expression softened into a small smile. Mikoto and I were classmates at the academy, and she was close friends with my girlfriend. He glanced briefly at Naruto, seeing reflections of both Mikoto Uchiha and Kushina Uzumaki in Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto blinked in confusion. The fourth Hokage actually has a girlfriend, Databeo? Really? Minato smiled quietly without answering. He understood far too well. It wasn't just that he had died, Kushina hadn't been protected either. Sorrow and guilt twisted deeply within him. And at the same time, the softest part of his heart clenched at the sight of the blonde boy before him, a child who probably didn't know who his real parents were at all. His body, smaller and thinner than children his age, said enough. He was strong, lively like Kushina, but he probably lived a harsh life, just like Kushina did when she first came to Konoha. Minato gently patted Naruto's head before turning to Sasuke. Itachi-kun is Fugaku-senpai and Mikoto-san's first son. Kushina and I visited when he was born. He paused, pretending to be troubled. If I walked in knowing nothing and told them to kill their precious boy, I'd be begging to die, haha. Fugaku-senpai would slam the door in my face, declare Minato Namikaze unwelcome in the Uchiha district, and when I got home, Kushina's fists would be waiting. No, maybe I wouldn't even get the chance to go home. I'd just crouch miserably outside the door, accepting the pitying looks of passing comrades, like Shikaku-senpai. Naruto's and Minato's words brought Sasuke down from his frenzy, if only slightly. Itachi, he. Sasuke stared down at his own palm, eyes haunted by that night beneath the crimson moon. He killed Dad Mom, he killed the entire Uchiha clan. The words scraped their way out, thick with grief. Young Kakashi and Minato both froze, stunned. Neither had expected the young Uchiha before them to say something like that. Minato looked to the older Kakashi, Sasuke's Jonin instructor. Kakashi nodded silently. He hadn't known everything about the Uchiha situation back then, but he'd heard the rumors. Afterwards, he'd spent a long time at the memorial stone apologizing to Obito. He had been using Obito's eye yet hadn't noticed the changes in Itachi, once his subordinate, allowing such a tragedy to unfold in the Uchiha clan. The old man Tazuna raised his voice timidly. Do you all remember me? I'm your extremely important client for this mission. I forgot. Naruto blurted out in full bluntness. Tazuna sighed. I knew it. Anyway, I don't know what's going on here, but this is definitely not the right place to be talking about all this. We're already close to my house. Carry that kid on the ground, and let's go back so you can rest comfortably. Minato's mind was tied in knots over the Canopy Bridge mission, but he had no real options. Obito had suddenly collapsed, the risk of forcing him to continue the mission was too high. And more importantly, they had no way to return to their own time. Though he didn't want to alter the future, one look at Naruto and Sasuke's present circumstances told him something unmistakable. This future didn't seem very bright at all. My apologies for the interruption, he nodded to their client, Tazuna-san. He was just about to crouch so Kakashi could help lift Obito onto his back when the older Kakashi suddenly spoke. I'll carry him. Young Kakashi gave his future self a look one normally reserved for spotting frauds. You're actually volunteering to carry that dead weight? Did you get a fever or something? PFF, that particular insult sounded way too familiar to Naruto. I mean seriously, Kakashi-sensei, you used to call your friends dead weight too? I didn't know you were like that. You're just as annoying as that bastard Sasuke. Kakashi scratched his head with a sheepish grin. Well, I was a kid. Sasuke's ears went red. Who's your friend? You gigantic idiot. What's there to be embarrassed about? Naruto slung an arm around Sasuke's neck. The fourth Hokage bro told us to be good friends, Databeo. Sasuke huffed irritably, though he didn't shove Naruto off. Fourth Hokage-sama definitely didn't say that. With Obito secured on his back, Kakashi felt something unusual. His left eye didn't hurt as much. The constant stabbing burn that drained his chakra day after day had eased. He finally connected the dots. Obito must have fainted because he had unknowingly paid the chakra cost for the techniques Kakashi used to defeat Zabuza. Seeing Obito alive again, after 12 years of guilt, regret, and funerals spent apologizing at the memorial stone, made all of Kakashi's remorse twist into something closer to prayer and redemption. But just as he took 2 steps forward, something slipped free. A scroll that had been dangling precariously from Obito's ninja pouch fell and rolled directly to Naruto's feet. Naruto bent down and picked it up. The scroll was slightly larger than his palm, labeled Mission on the outside. It wasn't tied shut. When Naruto lifted it, the scroll unfurled on its own. Naturally, Naruto's eyes landed on the contents. Mission rank SSS. Mission objective, kill the masked man. Chapter 009, Obito Uchiha's SSS rank mission, kill the masked man? An SSS rank mission? Naruto hadn't even read the scroll yet, but the mission level alone left him completely frozen. Forget SSS rank, he had never touched an S rank. No, not even an A rank. The only reason they were doing anything above B rank this time was because old man Tazuna couldn't afford the commission for a higher level escort, so they ended up taking on this so-called B rank mission. Naruto, Sakura warned. Don't just look at other people's mission scrolls. Iruka-sensei taught us that back in the academy. Ah. Sorry. The scroll felt like a burning coal in Naruto's hands. He tossed it from left to right, then right to left, until it finally slipped and dropped onto the grass. It had already been unrolled, and upon hitting the ground it continued rolling away, spreading wide open across the grass. Mission level, SSS. Mission objective, kill the masked man. Their young squad leader Kakashi cast a glance at the scroll lying on the ground. A mission? I'm the one holding the mission scroll this time, he said, his tone carrying both the confidence of a captain and the arrogance of someone who became a Jonin at 12. SSS rank? Don't joke around. He's a Chunin. At best he can handle little C or D rank jobs. Minato Namikaze picked up the scroll, feeling certain this wasn't something so simple. Obito might be unreliable at times, but he wasn't the kind to fake a mission scroll just to mess with people. Alright, whatever the case, let's head to Tazuna-san's home first, Minato said. Those two Kirigakure ninja were clearly after him. I'm afraid that man named Zabuza will come back once his injuries heal. And next time, he won't underestimate us like he did just now. Be ready. The fight had lasted barely 10 minutes, but ninja battles weren't like samurai duels. Life and death often hinged on something beyond strength, information. This clash had only gone so smoothly because Zabuza lacked intel on Kakashi and severely underestimated the unpredictable factor that was Naruto and his team. Next time wouldn't be so easy. Led by Uncle Tazuna, the group made their way to his home in the Land of Waves. On the road, young Kakashi glanced at his future self with open disdain. Hey, you got caught in that water prison by Zabuza just now, didn't you? Kakashi, he finally realized just how irritating he'd been as a kid. You didn't suffer some hidden injury on a mission or something, right? Otherwise, why would your own student have to figure out how to drag you out of the water prison? Young Kakashi rested both hands behind his head, relentlessly mocking his future self. Kakashi, I just let my guard down for a moment. Young Kakashi sighed on purpose. I really hope this is just a nightmare. If not, this future is way too hard to accept. Kakashi looked at the younger version of himself, still prickly like a little hedgehog, and murmured, if I could, I'd wish it were all just a dream too. If dreams could end, he'd return to that mission, return to Obito, Rin, and Minato-sensei, head out together, come back safely, quarrel with Obito every day, and complete missions as a team of 4. Minato-sensei, if it's alright to ask, what mission were you all on? And why wasn't Rin with you? When he heard Sasuke ask Minato-sensei to kill Itachi, he too had hesitated for a moment. If he'd warned Sensei in advance that Obito would be lost forever during the Canopy Bridge mission, could fate have been changed? Minato nodded. Since they came from different timelines, knowing each other's missions didn't matter. But with how much they already knew, he would have to reconsider whether he should seal everyone's memories entirely. We're currently at the height of the Third Shinobi World War. Kakashi and I were assigned to split into 2 teams. Today just happens to be the day you became a Jonin, Kakashi. Remember? This was the day you were to lead your team to cut off the enemy's supply route, the mission to destroy the Canopy Bridge. Rin was captured by IWA Ninja, but since we were suddenly brought to this future, we couldn't go save her. Minato looked troubled. The moment Minato Namikaze said this, Kakashi's eyes flew open. The Canopy Bridge. That meant. Kakashi followed Uncle Tazuna toward his home as if on autopilot, his mind filled with everything that had happened back then, a sin he could never make up for, no matter how long he spent repenting. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura, who had been listening, were stunned when they heard Minato say, "Today is the day you become a Jonin." They stared at the 12-year-old Kakashi, the same age as them, their faces full of disbelief and shock. Sakura, seriously? Kakashi-sensei became a Jonin at that age? The 4th Hokage had just said he was 12? Sasuke felt a surge of frustration. They were the same age, yet he and the others could barely handle C and D rank missions under Kakashi's lead. Meanwhile, this guy had already taken on crucial assignments in the Third Shinobi World War. The difference crushed him. How was he supposed to kill Itachi and restore the Uchiha clan at this rate? "You've gotta be kidding me?" Naruto yelped, pointing at the silver-haired kid whose smugness outdid even Sasuke's. "He's already a jonin? This brat?" Chapter 010, Rin Nora appears, and the Minato team is finally complete. A large anger mark popped up over young Kakashi's head. He sped up on purpose, coming to walk beside Naruto, clearly enjoying the height advantage he had over him. "Before you call someone a brat, try checking your own height first. Shorty!" "Who are you calling short?" First, Uncle Tazuna had mocked his height and unreliability, and now even the younger Kakashi-sensei was calling him a shorty. Naruto had reached his limit. He jumped in front of young Kakashi and popped a shadow clone to scare him. What he didn't know was that Kakashi had already graduated from the academy at 5 and could use the shadow clone jutsu back then. Young Kakashi, who had somehow formed seals without anyone noticing, countered with his own shadow clone and caught Naruto completely off guard. "All that chakra, and you can't even use it properly," young Kakashi said arrogantly. "Don't tell me you're a dead last like that idiot Obito?" Whether it was because someone other than himself had called Naruto a dead last, or because the other person being insulted was from the Uchiha clan, Sasuke clearly wasn't happy. He gave a cold snort but stayed silent. Naruto stomped his feet in fury. Sakura smiled politely, but inside she was fuming. So the delinquent jonin Kakashi-sensei had been this insufferable when he was little? One boy was his future son, the other his current student. Minato Namikaze sighed and stepped in before they actually started fighting. Adult Kakashi finally snapped out of his memories. With young Obito still on his back, he turned around, looking apologetically at his sensei, who was younger than him now, and at his own 3 students. "Sorry. I know I was awful as a kid, but if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes today, I might never have realized just how awful." "What? Who are you calling awful?" Young Kakashi shot back immediately. Adult Kakashi gave a slight smile. "I was talking about myself. Do you have a problem with that?" A sharp inhale rippled through everyone. No mistake about it. These two really were the same person. Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura, and Minato all thought the exact same thing at the same time. Saying the harshest things with the gentlest tone, while smiling apologetically. That was absolutely Kakashi-sensei or Kakashi. Minato quickly placed himself between the two Kakashi and turned to the client. "Tazuna-san, you're the bridge builder of the Land of Waves. Why are missing Nin from Kirigakure after you?" Tazuna hesitated, then pointed toward the half-finished bridge in the distance. "Because of that bridge." Young Kakashi lifted his eyelids. "A bridge?" Come to think of it, they had ended up in this strange future world because of the Kanabi Bridge mission as well. Tazuna nodded. "We'll just head home today. We'll continue construction on the bridge when we go into town tomorrow." "But why would building a bridge attract missing Nin?" young Kakashi asked. Kakashi answered, "Because Mr. Tazuna's project threatens Gato's interests." "Gato? He's a wealthy merchant in our time. On the surface he acts as the president of a shipping company, but in truth he hires criminal groups and rogue ninja to smuggle drugs and contraband. He's a complete villain. Using his money and his hired muscle, he's taken full control of Land of Waves' maritime transport. That means the nation's wealth, politics, and even its people have to follow his rules." Kakashi looked at Tazuna. "But if Tazuna-san completes the bridge, the people of this land won't rely solely on sea routes anymore. Gato's power and profits would take a massive hit." "So that's how it is." They were less than 100 meters from Tazuna's 2-story house by the sea when a tan-skinned woman with long hair waved at them from afar, calling them over. Tazuna said, "This is my daughter, Tsunami." After they stepped inside, Tazuna called to his daughter. "These people saved my life. You must treat them with utmost care." Tsunami thanked Kakashi, Minato, and the others politely, then turned to her father. "Earlier today, a girl dressed like them, a ninja, I think, suddenly collapsed at our doorstep. I carried her inside." "A girl dressed like a ninja?" Sakura asked curiously. Tsunami nodded. "About your age, but she's still unconscious. Could you possibly have these ninja-sama take a look? Even asleep, she doesn't look well." The group followed Tsunami upstairs to a room on the second floor. The window was open, the blue ocean stretching out beyond it. Seagulls occasionally glided past, giving the room a peaceful, relaxing feel. But only Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura had the mood to appreciate the view outside even for a moment. Because the instant the two Kakashi and Minato Namikaze saw the unconscious girl, they rushed forward. Rin? Rin? Naruto felt the name sounded familiar. Sasuke shot him a look of pure disdain. You idiot. What kind of brain do you have? Naruto still didn't get it. Sakura reminded him, Kakashi-sensei and the fourth Hokage-sama mentioned it earlier. She was one of the fourth students, Kakashi-sensei's teammate back then. Oh. Naruto looked at Uchiha Obito, whom Kakashi-sensei had just set down, and at Rin Noara lying on the bed. They're Kakashi-sensei's teammates, so how come I've never seen them in the village, Dadabayo? His question shut Sakura and Sasuke up, too. They suddenly remembered. When Team 7 had just formed, Kakashi-sensei brought them to the memorial stone. The names engraved here belong to ninja who died on missions. The names of my precious comrades are here too. Although Sakura had a bad feeling, she still hoped they were all wrong. I mean, maybe they're on some long-term secret mission outside the village and only come back once in a while? She said weakly. Hearing his three students talk, Kakashi's eyes dimmed with grief. He still couldn't bring himself to say the words, they're gone. Minato said, Rin is under a genjutsu. It's IWA ninja. They probably tried to force intel about the village out of her, young Kakashi added. Kakashi helped Rin sit up while Minato placed his hand on her shoulder. Release. His chakra flowed into Rin's network, breaking the enemy's illusion. Exhausted, Rin Noara nearly collapsed again, but Minato and Kakashi quickly steadied her. She blinked several times. Her blurry vision slowly cleared. Seeing Minato Namikaze in front of her snapped her mind awake in an instant. Minato-sensei, did you rush back from another battlefield? She remembered being captured by two IWA ninja. What about Kakashi and Obito? Are they alright? Hearing Rin think of him and Obito the very moment she woke up made young Kakashi's chest tighten. He had always prioritized the mission. It wasn't wrong. It was the shinobi rules that said the mission came first. So why did choosing the mission never feel like redemption? Those who don't follow the shinobi rules are trash. That was what the people who drove his father to his death had repeated to him again and again. Adult Kakashi stepped aside so Rin could see Obito lying nearby. Rin gasped. Obito? Obito exhausted his chakra and fell unconscious. He should wake up tonight, Minato said. Rin let out a breath of relief and looked around again. Aside from the unfamiliar sea breeze and seagulls outside the window, the four unknown ninja wearing Konoha forehead protectors only deepened her confusion. Minato-sensei, who are these people? Knowing Rin had just been tortured with genjutsu and couldn't possibly handle learning she'd awaken 14 years in the future, Minato decided to let her rest and explain later. Grandpa. A small boy burst out from another room upstairs, wearing a white and blue fisherman's hat. He completely ignored Naruto and the others, running straight into Tsuna's arms. Tsunami scolded him, Inari. Greet our guests properly. They're your grandpa's lifesavers. No. Inari rejected the idea immediately, leaving Minato, Kakashi, and the others a bit embarrassed. Naruto frowned. What's his deal? Rebellious phase? But that wasn't the end of it. The boy named Inari slowly looked over each ninja present. The tallest one, the silver-haired guy, looked like he could fight decently at least. Among the remaining adults, only the gentle-looking blonde man was there, and he looked weak at first glance. The rest were just kids, and two of them didn't even look like they could move. Mom, these people are all going to die. Kakashi. Minato. Naruto, what did you just say? You brat. Sakura, internally exactly. Who says stuff like that the moment they meet someone? What kind of messed up kid is this? Tsunami planted her hands on her hips. Inari. Apologize right now. Inari shot back, they don't stand a chance against Gato. If they keep going like this, they're definitely going to die. What? Naruto jumped up, threatening to smack him if he kept talking. Listen up. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm gonna be Hokage in the future, Databeo. One day I'll be a superhero everyone in the village recognizes. I'm not scared of Gato or anyone else. Inari lowered his head, the brim of his hat hiding most of his face. What hero? You just look like an idiot. What? Naruto practically exploded. I said heroes don't exist. If you don't want to die, you'd better leave this place right now, Inari shouted, refusing to apologize the way his mother told him to. He stood and stormed off. Inari, where are you going? Back to my room to look at the sea. Bang! The door slammed shut. As he passed, young Kakashi thought he caught sight of a tear slipping down the boy's cheek. The room sank into awkward silence. Tazuna sighed and apologized on behalf of his grandson, though he didn't explain why Inari behaved like that. Naruto was still fuming, insisting he'd set Inari straight later. Minato, the man who had just been mistaken for being incredibly weak, twitched at the corner of his mouth. Naruto might have inherited his eyes and hair, but the personality? That was pure Kushina. Once they came downstairs, Minato Namikaze pulled aside the Kakashi who had grown into a 26-year-old in this timeline. Then he turned to his 12-year-old student, the young Jonin Kakashi. Kakashi, I'd like you to run some special training for Naruto and the others. Think you can handle that? He needed an excuse to send young Kakashi and the kids away. Chapter 012, Eyes That Won't Close, Hands That Can't Be Washed Clean. Young Kakashi glanced at the blonde kid who seemed just as clueless as that idiot Obito, then crooked a finger at Sasuke and the seemingly well-behaved but unreadable pink-haired girl. Follow me. With that arrogant attitude, it wasn't just Naruto who wanted to punch him. Sasuke was barely holding back, and Sakura was ranting nonstop in her head. What in the world had happened for such an infuriating brat to grow into their current delinquent Jonin instructor? Once outside, young Kakashi looked back and happened to notice that the window of what was likely Inari's room was open. Wait here. He flickered out of sight before Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura could blink. Wow, that body flicker technique is insane, Sasuke said in disbelief. Naruto nodded. He's super annoying, but young Kakashi-sensei really was awesome. But how did he end up turning into such a delinquent Jonin? Sakura complained, imitating Kakashi's mannerisms. Always holding that weird book called Ika Ika Paradise. Always late. And the excuses. Either sorry, I got lost on the path of life, or sorry, I helped an old lady on the way. It's infuriating. Naruto crossed his arms. But compared to grown-up Kakashi-sensei, little Kakashi-sensei was way more annoying with how smug he was. And we already have an idiot like Sasuke here. Sasuke shot him a cold glare but ignored him, following Sakura's line of thought. Maybe something happened to him too. Like that Sharingan, Kakashi still hadn't told him why he possessed an Uchiha clan eye. Seeing young Kakashi clarified a few things. First, 12-year-old Kakashi didn't have the Sharingan yet. His left eye was untouched and didn't need to be covered, which meant he got the Sharingan afterward. So the change in his personality was likely tied to whatever happened when he received it. Second, Sasuke noticed the impressive ninja blade strapped to Kakashi's back. That meant Kakashi had trained in Kenjutsu when he was young. Why he eventually abandoned swordsmanship and came to rely on an Uchiha Sharingan that remained a mystery. Meanwhile, young Kakashi, having used body flicker technique to leave, now stood on the eaves outside Inari's room. Inari, clutching a photograph and crying silently, didn't notice him at all. Kakashi saw that the picture showed a man with a bright, strong expression. The child knelt on the desk by the window, staring out at the sea with the photo in his arms, crying in painful restraint. Dad. When Inari choked out the word, young Kakashi's expression didn't change. But if Obito or Rin were here, they would have noticed the faint sorrow deep in his eyes. Watching the boy cry over the photograph, young Kakashi suddenly understood why Inari had seemed so familiar. It wasn't that he resembled someone Kakashi had known. It was because Inari looked exactly like him. The Kakashi who had been left behind after his father, Tsukumo Hatake, was destroyed by the village's rumors and took his own life. For a moment, Inari's small, trembling figure overlapped perfectly with Kakashi's memory of himself years ago. Back then, he lived alone in the old Hatake house. He went to the academy by himself during the day, then bought fish at the market, or caught a couple in the mountains, and cooked them step by step the way the books instructed. Life moved in quiet order. But when a house loses a person, the loneliness is crushing. Countless nights, just like Inari now, he hugged his father's portrait and stared blankly at the wheat fields outside the Hataki residence under the moonlight. Returning to Naruto and the others. The 4 12-year-olds left Uncle Tazuna's home, with Tsunami reminding them to be sure to return in 2 hours for dinner. Meanwhile, Minato Namikaze and the 26-year-old Kakashi arrived at a quiet, undisturbed place. A lot must have happened over these years, hasn't it? Minato Namikaze was the first to speak. Yeah. Kakashi looked at his teacher, who now barely reached his shoulder, and there was a trace of bitterness in his smile. Getting to see you again, I'm truly honored. Ha ha ha, really? Minato reached out and ruffled Kakashi's hair, making the usually unflappable Jonin a bit embarrassed. All your sharp edges have been worn down. He wasn't talking about skill, he meant Kakashi himself. Minato's gaze shifted to Kakashi's right eye. That eye. Kakashi said quietly, it's Obito's. Minato nodded. I thought so. Sensei, today is the day you carried out the Canopy Bridge mission, isn't it? Yes. The Third Shinobi World War is at its fiercest right now. Konoha is short on manpower, and we have no choice but to send even children like you into the war. As an adult looking back on it, Minato felt a heavy guilt settle in his chest. Kakashi gave a faint, bitter smile. Yeah. That morning, before we left, I even argued with Obito because he didn't give me a gift for becoming a Jonin. His voice carried both longing and quiet sorrow. Chapter 013. We're both 12, so why are you so exceptional? When you mentioned the Canopy Bridge mission, Minato remembered immediately. That morning before they were brought into this world, Kakashi and Obito had argued about the Jonin gift. Kakashi said, Sensei, do you remember how Obito said he wanted to give me a Jonin gift today? I remember. But what does that have to do with your Sharingan? His mouth moved faster than his mind, and before Minato could finish the question, the realization burst out of him. That was his Jonin gift to you. Minato stared in shock. He'd known plenty of Uchiha in his life, but he had never heard of one actually digging out a Sharingan and giving it away as a promotion gift. Forget a Jonin gift, no one had ever given a Sharingan as a love token either. Giving away a Sharingan, the very symbol of Uchiha honor. If Fugaku heard this, he'd have a heart attack on the spot. Minato's eyes were wide with disbelief. Kakashi only let out a wry smile. Looking back at me from then, I really was pretty unbearable, wasn't I, Sensei? Minato felt awkward. How was he supposed to answer that? They were both his precious students. Kakashi was a little arrogant back then, sure, but geniuses had their quirks. Kakashi gently touched the forehead protector covering his left eye. Obito awakened this Sharingan to save my life. Minato didn't interrupt. He could tell Kakashi still had more to say. And to save me, he died in that battle at Canopy Bridge. Minato's face shifted instantly. For a moment, he couldn't even form words. Kakashi spoke quietly, as if recounting someone else's story. Before he died, he gave me this eye as my Jonin gift. He told me to keep watching this world for him and to use this eye to protect Rin. But I... Minato's expression darkened. So Obito and Rin both died? Kakashi nodded. And you, Sensei, and Kushina-san as well. Everyone died protecting the village. Sometimes, Kakashi wondered if the reason he clung so tightly to Konoha was because the people most important to him had sacrificed themselves for it. Konoha wasn't just the village he lived in, its value was all the lives that had built it. After a long silence, Minato finally said, That's not a future anyone would be happy to hear about. Yes. And Naruto. Kakashi paused. This is the first time he's meeting you. He doesn't seem to know I'm his father? Probably because you made too many enemies from other hidden villages during the war. Without you and Kushina-san to protect him, if he were ever captured, the consequences would be unimaginable. So the third Hokage-sama didn't reveal Naruto's identity. But the information that Naruto was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was leaked. Even though the third later locked down the news and assigned A and B to rotate protecting him, Naruto still lived a far harsher life than other war orphans. It was part of what shaped his resilience, but Kakashi still carried his own quiet resentment toward that accidental leak. Minato lowered his gaze. I see. He didn't comment further. He'd heard the unspoken meaning in Kakashi's words. And as a Konoha shinobi, Kakashi would never openly question the leadership's decisions. On the other side, deep in the forests of the Land of Waves, the climate and environment here were a bit different from Konoha's. Surrounded by the coast, the Land of Waves was much more humid than Konohagakure, which was located in the heart of the Land of Fire. The thick shrubbery flourished in the damp conditions. Alright, tell me what you want to learn. 12-year-old Kakashi Hatake wasn't like Naruto's delinquent Jonin instructor, who was always late. At this point, young Kakashi still had the sharp tongue and genius reputation, with a catchphrase of anyone who breaks the rules is trash. He had brought Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura deep into the Land of Waves forest. Having never taught before, he surprisingly asked what they wanted to learn. How are we supposed to know what to learn if you don't teach us? Naruto jumped in frustration, angered by Kakashi's nonchalant attitude. Sasuke was equally upset. While he acknowledged that Kakashi was stronger, after all, Kakashi had become a Jonin at their age. This version of Kakashi was only 12. Unlike the older Kakashi, this version's lack of strength only sparked Sasuke's rebellious competitive nature. Young Kakashi wasn't particularly excited to teach them either. If it weren't for Minato-sensei's request, he wouldn't have bothered with these kids. He couldn't understand why his future self would choose to become a teacher. Wasn't it better to enjoy missions with the ANBU? Sakura, trying to lighten the mood, suggested, how about showing us a ninjutsu you're good at? Sure, he was handsome, but young Kakashi-sensei was way too intimidating. With his hands on his hips, young Kakashi dramatically sighed. Fine. I'll demonstrate. See if you can learn it. With that, he began forming hand seals. Hare, horse, dragon, just 3 seals. Then his hands suddenly crackled with dazzling blue lightning. The sharp, crackling sound, like 1,000 birds chirping, made it hard for anyone to decide whether to cover their eyes to avoid the blinding light or to plug their ears to stop the ear-piercing sound. The lightning crackled and struck the ground, sending shocks through the air. The sheer force left Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura staring in shock, their mouths hanging open. Raikiri. Chapter 014. Obito Uchiha wakes up and immediately attacks Kakashi? Young Kakashi dragged his Raikiri along his right hand, using the water-walking technique to sprint across the pond. He sent a massive wave splashing up, then swiftly ran up a tree trunk, unleashing the Raikiri from the top and driving it downward. In an instant, the towering tree, easily dozens of meters tall, was cleaved from top to bottom. It looked as if a huge thunderbolt had come down from the sky and split it in half. Amazing! Naruto exclaimed in awe. Sasuke stared at the boy across from him, who was his age, momentarily forgetting the envy he felt. After making his Loki grand display, young Kakashi said, "Not bad. This is about all I can manage for now." Sakura, what more do you want? Naruto snapped out of his stupor, excitedly hopping in front of his younger teacher Kakashi. What technique was that? Is it called Raikiri? That was awesome. You're way stronger than our Kakashi-sensei. He never taught us any decent jutsu. Sakura added her own comment, exactly. And he's always so late for class. Plus, he always comes up with lame excuses like I helped an old lady across the street, or I got lost on the road of life. Naruto huffed. Sasuke bluntly asked, are you two even the same person? Could it be like there's a Kakashi number 2 under the mask? Young Kakashi furrowed his brow. Late? Impossible. Impossible? Naruto stomped his foot, fuming. On the first day of class, he told us to skip breakfast and wait for him at 7 a.m. But he didn't show up until 10:30. His excuse? He got lost on the road of life. How many twists and turns does his life path have? Sakura nodded vigorously in agreement, and Sasuke grunted in acknowledgement. However, young Kakashi remained adamant that he could never be late. A ninja must prioritize missions above all else. Any ninja who disregards the shinobi rules is trash. His words instantly stunned Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Such a rigid attitude not only created a feeling of distance but also sparked an instinctive sense of resistance. And this was completely the opposite of the Kakashi they knew. They remembered the day Kakashi-sensei first acknowledged them. The first lesson he taught them was, those who break the rules are trash, but those who don't value their comrades are worse than trash. Seeing their stunned faces, young Kakashi didn't bother explaining. He wasn't keen to bring up the irritating memories from the past. Alright, let's get back to the jutsu. He continued, this technique gathers blue lightning in the palm and then pierces the target. Its key feature is its immense power. It can easily break through enemy defenses and penetrate them. It's a lightning release jutsu I developed recently. Minato-sensei said that if I improve the flaws, it could potentially be rated as S rank. SS rank? Faced with young Kakashi's casual boasting, the three of them were once again left speechless. Especially Sasuke. He was a true prodigy among this year's Ninja Academy students, yet he could only use 1 or 2 fire release techniques. But this Kakashi, at only 12 years old, had already developed an S-rank ninjutsu. And it was his own creation. Hand seals, hair horse dragon. Seeing such a powerful technique for the first time, Naruto immediately began practicing the hand seals. Raikiri! Naruto shouted, startling both Sasuke and Sakura. Had the super idiot Naruto really learned it that quickly? But when they turned to look, young Kakashi. The sharp-tongued young Kakashi was back. Your shout was impressive, but you didn't seriously think you could just do the hand seals and unleash Raikiri, did you? Naruto. Sasuke, super idiot. Sakura, stupid Naruto. Then how the heck do we learn it? Teach us already, damn it! Naruto yelled at young Kakashi. Young Kakashi sighed and explained the chakra flow principles of Raikiri 3 times. But not only did Naruto not understand, Sakura and Sasuke couldn't figure it out either. Frustrated, Kakashi climbed up a nearby tree, leaving them to figure it out on their own. Just before time was up, he called them back, perfectly on schedule. The 3 of them were still scrambling to form the hand seals on the ground, shouting, hare, horse, dragon. Raikiri. It had to be said, the 3 young genin hadn't gained anything. When they returned to Tezuna's house, their expressions were worse than ever. Seeing their faces, 26-year-old Kakashi grew concerned and asked young Kakashi what he had taught them. Raikiri. That single phrase nearly made Kakashi spit out his drink. It's too early to teach them this, especially since none of the 3 have even tested their chakra attributes yet. I haven't tested mine either. No, we haven't, Kakashi corrected himself. Our chakra is all attribute. We can use any ninjutsu, though we're more proficient in earth, water, and lightning release. Naruto. Sasuke. Sakura. Damn it! This is infuriating. Kakashi quickly reassured his 3 students, I'll teach you tomorrow instead. He glanced at his younger self. This isn't wartime. They can't even control their chakra to climb trees or walk on water yet. Do we really need to learn that? Young Kakashi's tone was clearly a little arrogant. It was pure luck that Tsunami had called them for dinner, preventing a fight. Minato, Kakashi, could you check if Obito and Rin are awake? If they are, bring them down for dinner. Young Kakashi stood and headed upstairs. The others sat down at the table to eat. Tsunami looked a little apologetic. Because of Gato, the land of waves doesn't really have much to offer these days. We've got plenty of fish, though. Minato smiled. It's fine. Thank you for hosting us. He glanced at young Kakashi. I recall you used to enjoy fish. After their conversation, he finally understood why that once proud prodigy had been so battered by fate. Unconsciously, he felt a deep sympathy for his disciple. Boom! A thunderous crash echoed from the second floor. Even the non-ninja Tezuna family could tell it was the unmistakable sound of flesh slamming into the ground. And it wasn't just a fall, someone had clearly been attacked. More crashes followed, each louder than the last. Without a word, Minato and Kakashi used body flicker technique to dash upstairs. Naruto, Sasuke, and the others dropped their chopsticks and rushed after them. The wall panels on the second floor had been severely damaged by the impact, revealing the chaos inside. At the forefront, Kakashi Hatake and Minato Namikaze stood frozen, staring in shock at the ruined room and the figure within, a young man, radiating intense malice, like a trapped beast. Obito, you awakened your eyes? Chapter 015, Kakashi realizes. A world without Rin is hell for Obito. Young Kakashi stared in shock at the awakened Obito Uchiha. Obito, you awakened your Sharingan? The words had barely left his mouth when Obito was sent flying backward with a loud thud. Look closely. It was young Kakashi, pinned beneath him, who had kicked him. But this was absolutely self-defense. The sharp-tongued genius, who had just moments ago efficiently called them to dinner, now had his ninja uniform torn to shreds. Only his mask remained intact, still covering his face. A large, crimson bruise ran across his back, likely from being slammed violently to the ground. The fair-skinned youth struggled to breathe, a piece of his torn garment still clutched tightly in Obito's hand. If it weren't for the others intervening, he would have fought back without hesitation. Judging by what Minato Namikaze and Kakashi Hatake witnessed when they arrived, Obito had activated his Sharingan, pinned young Kakashi, and started attacking him without warning? Young Kakashi hadn't expected Obito to wake up and go berserk like this. He'd been caught completely off guard. By the time he realized what was happening and tried to fight back, he'd already taken several hits. Even now, as he managed to stand, young Kakashi couldn't help but cough up blood. Obito Uchiha, restrained by Minato Namikaze, continued to struggle violently, his two-tomo Sharingan glowing a blood-red hue. The intensity of his gaze made the three genin and the Tazuna family hesitant to approach. Kakashi? Obito? The noise from the scuffle woke Rin from the next room. Upon seeing Kakashi's injuries and Obito's crazed state, she immediately rushed over to treat them with medical ninjutsu. Rin? Obito choked out her name. Obito, you awakened your eyes? Rin asked, astonished. Minato nodded. I never imagined Obito hadn't opened his eyes until now. But to open them with two Tomo Sharingan, that must be an incredibly rare occurrence within the Uchiha clan. His tone shifted abruptly, turning serious and tinged with anger. But you need to explain yourself, Obito. Why did you attack your comrades so viciously? Minato-sensei? Obito, still in a dazed state, saw Minato standing there. He shook his head, looking at his own hands and desperately trying to recall what had happened. But the images in his mind had become the most terrifying nightmare, one he couldn't shake, no matter what. Rin, using the mystical palm technique, healed Kakashi's slightly worse injury, then hurried over to check on Obito. Rin? Suddenly, Obito embraced the girl before him, startling everyone. Naruto, what the hell just happened? Obito Uchiha was so focused on Rin that he didn't even seem to notice the others. Though he released her, he still held onto her hand tightly. Rin noticed how violently Obito's hand was shaking. She gently asked, "What's wrong, Obito? Did you have a nightmare?" Obito sniffled and mumbled a soft, Sakura, her frustration growing, couldn't hold back her words. This isn't a dream. You clearly went berserk with your Sharingan. She couldn't believe it. He had practically tried to kill Kakashi just now. Obito finally realized that he had been sitting on Kakashi, violently hitting him. I dreamed of hell. Minato was speechless. There was so much to say, but he didn't know where to start. Young Kakashi, even more furious, still felt pain in his chest and abdomen. This idiot was actually claiming he beat him up because of a nightmare? A nightmare about hell? What kind of dream? Sasuke suddenly spoke up from behind. What kind of dream could make someone open their eyes and reveal a two-tomo Sharingan? It had to be said, after witnessing young Kakashi's abilities today, Sasuke felt a little anxious. As a descendant of the Uchiha clan, he also yearned for the power that came with awakening his eyes. Young Obito didn't realize who had asked the question. He nervously looked between Rin and Kakashi, his eyes darting back and forth. I dreamt. He swallowed hard, as if the memory still unsettled him. I dreamt that stupid Kakashi killed Rin with Raikiri. Boom. The sound drew everyone's attention straight to adult Kakashi. Although he wore a mask, the terror in his eyes made the phrase pale as a ghost seem too mild to describe him. After hearing Obito say, I dreamt that clumsy Kakashi killed Rin with Raikiri, young Kakashi staggered back, his back slamming against the wall with a loud thud. With his back pressed against the wall, his legs slightly bent, it appeared as though he was relying on it just to stay standing. For over 10 years, Kakashi had relived the moment he killed Rin in countless nightmares. Especially as a child, he would wake up in the dead of night to wash his hands, only to find that no matter how hard he scrubbed, the crimson, sticky sensation clinging to his hands wouldn't wash away. Impossible to wash away no matter how much he tried. How could he ever explain this to Obito? For all these years, Kakashi had tortured himself with this question. But Obito was already dead. He could only wait until his own death to apologize in the afterlife. He could never fully imagine how Obito would react upon learning that he had killed Rin. Today, Kakashi finally got a glimpse. Just dreaming about it had triggered the second tomo of his Sharingan. Was a world without Rin truly hell for Obito? Chapter 016, The Uchiha Clan, I am the last one left. Kakashi didn't know what Obito would have done back then if Rin had suddenly charged at Raikiri, and he had accidentally killed her, if Obito had still been alive. Would he have killed him on the spot to avenge Rin? At least in the dream, although Obito had vaguely struck his younger self, he hadn't intended to kill him during the attack. The sight of adult Kakashi caused Minato Namikaze's eyes to darken immediately. It seemed Kakashi's claim of failing to protect Rin held deeper implications. He didn't believe that Kakashi had consciously intended to kill Rin. Besides, the ninja world was full of techniques that could turn allies against each other: illusions, puppet technique, jujitsu, including the Nara clan's shadow imitation technique, and the mind-body switch technique. Still, both Obito and Rin's deaths appeared to have had a profound impact on Kakashi's life. Groggily, Obito Uchiha realized the hellish vision haunting him was merely a dream. In his half-asleep state, he'd even beaten Kakashi, and apparently with particular intensity. He scrambled to his feet and rushed to apologize to that sharp-tongued little genius, knowing he'd never hear the end of it otherwise. Sorry, Kakashi. Thank goodness you woke me up. I might have scared myself to death in that dream. Young Kakashi rolled his eyes. And this is how you repay the person who saved you from a nightmare? He deliberately showed him his still healing injuries. Obito's eyes shifted nervously, and his guilt deepened. During the Canopy Bridge mission, clumsy Kakashi had insisted on prioritizing the mission over rescuing Rin, and Obito had hit him hard for it. But it turned out Rin had already been rescued by Minato-sensei and Kakashi while he was unconscious. And now, after Kakashi kindly woke him from a nightmare, he'd gone and hit him again. No matter how you looked at it, this was entirely his fault. I'll run errands for you for an entire month. Please forgive me, Kakashi. Obito clasped his hands together, eyes tightly shut. Young Kakashi snorted arrogantly, clearly accepting the offer. He wasn't about to miss out on the chance to make Obito feel guilty and enjoy giving him orders. Sasuke stood in the back, frowning. He had never seen such a spineless Uchiha. Wait, is this guy really even an Uchiha? No wait, he really is. At least he's activated his Sharingan. Just then, little Obito realized they weren't alone. Besides clumsy Kakashi, Rin, and Minato-sensei, there were also. You guys. He pointed at Naruto and Sasuke. Minato-sensei said you're people from the future. Young Kakashi tapped his head. Idiot. It's not people from the future who came to us, we came to the future. We came to the future? Obito processed this, then immediately grabbed someone at random and demanded, what about me? My future self? Have I already become Hokage? The person he casually grabbed was Naruto Uzumaki, who shared the same dream of becoming Hokage. With that shared dream, Naruto instantly felt that this guy from the same clan as Sasuke could be cool. The future Hokage is me, Naruto Uzumaki. He looked at Obito. By the way, I've never seen you around the village. Who are you anyway? Me? Obito snapped back to attention, adjusting the goggles on his forehead. I am Obito Uchiha, the man destined to become Hokage. Sakura and Sasuke pressed their hands to their foreheads. This felt exactly like Naruto. Also, didn't Naruto wear goggles when he was a kid too? Obito realized he'd awakened his Sharingan, and not just one tomo, but two. I'm one step closer to becoming Hokage. Someday, I'll be the first Uchiha to hold that title. He didn't expect his words to make Sasuke Uchiha's eyes darken. Meanwhile, Obito turned toward Kakashi, whose face was partially concealed by a mask and forehead protector, leaving only his right eye visible. Are you really that future clumsy Kakashi? This feels unreal. You were so skinny back then, and now you've grown this tall. Young Kakashi, are you looking for a fight? Who was skinny? Who says I can't grow tall? Obito chuckled and looked over at Minato Namikaze. Sensei, have we completed our mission at Canopy Bridge? Minato Namikaze shook his head. We haven't returned yet. Then Rin. Young Kakashi pointed to Tazuna's family. They found Rin unconscious not far from home. It seems that, like us, Rin was transported to the future by the power of the space-time ninjutsu. Obito immediately expressed his gratitude to the family, who had stayed relatively in the background. Minato-sensei, how can we return? The mission at Canopy Bridge is crucial, right? Minato Namikaze shook his head. We haven't figured out a way back yet. Tsunami suggested, how about we head downstairs for dinner first? Everyone was hungry, so they followed Tsunami downstairs. On the way, Obito noticed that Sasuke, who had turned around, also carried the Uchiha clan's distinct aura. He shyly walked over to greet him. Obito, having grown up an orphan and struggled with his grades, wasn't highly regarded within the clan. The only ones who occasionally helped him and his grandmother were the clan leader, his older brother figure, and his sister figure, Mikoto. I haven't heard of you before. Maybe you weren't born yet in our time, Obito said. Who are your parents? I might know them. Fugaku Uchiha and Mikoto Uchiha. Obito's eyes widened. Fugaku-san and Mikoto-san? They had another child? That's great. You must be another genius in the clan. Before my mission, I played shuriken with little Itachi. He was only 2 and already better than me. And sure sway, that kid's another little genius in the clan. Young Kakashi couldn't help but retort, you idiot, you're 13. Your shuriken jutsu is worse than a 2-year-old's, and you still have the nerve to say that. TCH, would you die if you don't take a few jabs at me? Stupid Kakashi. Stop bickering. Rin chuckled. These are all our juniors, and Kakashi-sensei is their teacher. We should leave a good impression on them, right, Kakashi? Adult Kakashi remained silent. Young Kakashi snorted. I'm joining ANBU someday. No way am I teaching any stupid kids. Surprisingly, this time neither Naruto, Sasuke, nor Sakura spoke up to argue. Seeing Sasuke's grim expression, Obito asked, what's wrong? Are you okay? If you're not feeling well, Rin can check you out. Her medical ninjutsu is amazing. She's saved both my life and that dumb Kakashi's more times than I can count. Sasuke's face darkened. The Uchiha clan, I'm the only one left now. Chapter 017, The End of the Dream, Obito Uchiha learns of his own death. Obito froze in place. After several seconds, he removed his goggles and rubbed his ears, awkwardly saying, Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it? Sasuke growled. I said every single member of the Uchiha clan except me was killed. That bastard Itachi slaughtered them all. He killed Dad, he killed Mom, he killed everyone in the clan. All to measure his own capacity. He killed them all. Without thinking, Obito threw a punch at Sasuke Uchiha. Thud. A soft sound. As Sasuke's mentor, the young Kakashi caught Obito's punch aimed at him. Calm down, Obito. That brat's talking nonsense. How could Itachi possibly do such a thing? But it's true, Obito. Kakashi's hoarse voice was clearly difficult to utter. I'm sorry, but he's telling the truth. Obito's eyes went blank, and Rin was shaken by their words as well. Kakashi sighed. I'm sorry I couldn't protect the Uchiha clan for you. Obito snapped back to reality. What about me? Did I go on missions? Why didn't I stop Itachi myself? Why didn't I protect the clan? You. Kakashi's voice was soft, but every word felt like a hammer striking the hearts of Obito, Rin, and young Kakashi. You sacrificed yourself in the battle at Canopy Bridge. Your name is forever engraved on Konoha's memorial stone. Sasuke's eyes widened. Naruto gasped. Sakura stared in shock. Earlier, they had overheard the conversation between Kakashi-sensei and the 4th Hokage. The 4th Hokage had said that they had been on the Canopy Bridge mission before arriving in this future. Which meant, if they hadn't come here, then the young Chunin standing before them, roughly their age, named Obito Uchiha, had already died. Sasuke's voice dropped, as he reminded Naruto and Sakura. The Third Shinobi World War. They had learned in their Ninja Academy classes that every Shinobi World War had been accompanied by massive ninja casualties. Young ninjas had to graduate early from the academy and enter the battlefield, becoming the ramparts defending the ninja nations, the blades that slay enemies, the bargaining chips used for intelligence. Obito's eyes glazed over, his entire being sinking into a haze. Rin and Sakura stared at him in disbelief, about to ask more questions when Minato gently shook his head, signaling them to wait. The meal passed in silence. Sorry, I'm full. Obito was the first to stand up, setting down his bowl and heading upstairs. After he left, Minato and the others were left in a heavy silence. No matter what setbacks or blows Obito endured, he had always held on to his dreams, embracing the world with passion, loving the village and its comrades. No one could remain unmoved upon learning of their own impending death, especially Obito, who had desperately yearned to become Hokage. As the first Uchiha Hokage, he had hoped to push for Uchiha reform and resolve the internal conflicts between the village and his clan. Equally weighed down was young Kakashi, the leader of this mission. He had never considered this possibility, never imagined that his first independent mission as a Jonin would cost him Obito. Looking at his future self across the table, young Kakashi felt a strange sense of dread. What had this man endured? How much suffering had transformed him into this state? Naruto Uzumaki's words echoed in his mind again. Why have I never seen any of you in the village? Where is Rin? Where did she go? Why did his future self react so strongly when Obito spoke of his dream? Why did he look like he hadn't seen Minato-sensei in years when they met? He didn't want to think about it anymore. But the tangled information exploded in his mind, automatically sorting itself with sharp clarity. No matter how much he didn't want to know, the conclusion was still clear. It wasn't just his father who had abandoned him and left this world. Soon, Obito, Rin, Minato-sensei, everyone would leave him. The group of Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura had finished their meal. But Kakashi hadn't touched his bowl or chopsticks. Reluctantly, they had Tsunami cleared the table first, planning to give Kakashi a military rations pill when he got hungry. Young Kakashi's expression didn't change, but Sakura and the others could sense the near-desperate sorrow radiating from their sensei. They were worried, but couldn't think of any way to comfort him. Even Naruto could feel the heavy silence in the air. With little enthusiasm, he followed Sakura and Sasuke downstairs to the guest room to organize their ninja tools. Tazuna's family had left the space to the two adult ninjas. Kakashi. Minato-sensei. Both spoke at the same time. Minato gestured for Kakashi to speak first. Kakashi paused for a couple of seconds. The future truly can't be changed. He knew that his sensei, Minato Namikaze, appeared gentle and easily swayed. But once Minato made a decision, not even Naruto could change his mind. After becoming the fourth Hokage, not even the third Hokage, the advisors, or Danzo could influence Minato's choices. This time was no different. Once Minato-sensei found a way back, he would seal everyone's memories. Then, the future would unfold exactly as Kakashi had lived it. Obito's sacrifice. Rin's sacrifice. Minato-sensei's and Kushina's sacrifice. The Uchiha clan wiped out in a single night. He was left behind. Naruto was left behind. Sasuke was left behind. Chapter 018. The True Identity of the Masked Man? The existence that will destroy the world? I can't explain this either, Minato Namikaze said. I've never encountered a space-time ninjutsu of this caliber. He took out the mission scroll that had fallen from Obito's ninja pouch and unfolded it. This scroll bears traces of the same space-time ninjutsu that brought us here. Kakashi froze, his gaze fixed intently on the scroll. Minato Namikaze continued, I don't know what this means. If we change history, what happens to the future that originally matched that history? Does it disappear? Or does it suddenly shift into a different future? Or does a new world emerge, one that corresponds to the altered history? His explanation was a bit complicated, but Kakashi immediately understood. For example, there's an apple in this room. If nothing is done to it, a person from the future who opens the door will find a rotten apple. They'll throw it in the trash. So, the future of this apple would be rotted and thrown away. But what if someone traveled back in time and put that apple in the refrigerator? Then, when someone from the future enters the room and opens the fridge, they might find the apple, and if they're thirsty, they might eat it. Thus, the apple's fate becomes still edible, eaten. The theory Minato proposed was this: what if someone had already thrown the rotten apple into the trash, but then someone traveled back in time and put the apple in the fridge? What would happen in the future? There are three possible outcomes. First, the world where the apple rotted and was thrown in the trash is completely erased. In other words, the previous world disappears entirely. Second, the apple that was rotting in the trash suddenly appears chewed up inside someone's stomach. In this case, the two worlds merge. Third, both worlds exist, one where the apple rots and is thrown away, and another where the apple stays edible and is eaten by someone. This is the concept of parallel worlds. An apple might seem insignificant enough that it wouldn't affect the entire world. But what if we add one more condition to this hypothetical scenario? What if the apple is highly poisonous? If that's still not enough, what if the person who eats the apple is the leader of a hegemonic nation, and before eating it, he was planning to do something that would harm all of humanity? Minato-sensei, what you're worried about is if we change history, then we, as the future, will cease to exist? Minato nodded. Or perhaps we'll be assimilated into another possible future, one that could be better, or perhaps worse. He sighed. For now, I can't say for certain. Any possibility exists. But this uneasy feeling in my heart is deeply connected to this mission scroll. Minato tapped the mission scroll laid out before him. The scroll was long, yet contained only one mission. The rest of it was completely blank. Mission level, SSS. Mission content, kill the masked man. Kakashi thought for a moment. Kill the masked man? That was far too vague. Every ninja village's ANBU wore masks. With hundreds or even thousands of ANBU per village, there were thousands of masked ANBU. Female ANBU were few, mostly male. At a 1-to-2 ratio, the target pool was easily 2 to 3,000. That didn't even count the men who weren't ANBU but simply liked wearing masks. Kakashi, the last masked man we saw was the one with Zabuza, Kakashi replied. That Kirigakure ANBU. But both he and Minato Namikaze spoke at the same time, but Minato pointed at the mission level on the scroll and said, Mission level, SSS. I don't think a single Kirigakure ANBU would be assigned such a high-level mission. In truth, missions involving the security of the 5 great shinobi nations or the assassination of daimyo-level figures would undoubtedly be rated S rank. But for smaller nations like the Land of Waves or the Land of Grass, according to the Ninja World's mission rating system, even their complete destruction would only be rated S rank, at most barely qualifying for SS rank. The S rank rating includes additional consideration for the chain reactions caused by the annihilation of an entire country. Minato said, even I've never seen an SSS rank mission. Kakashi nodded. If this is an SSS rank mission, then it's probably on the level of saving the world. They stared at the scroll in their hands. Could the boy who was with Zabuza be the future one to destroy the world? Just as the two of them were deep in thought, Naruto Uzumaki suddenly burst into the room. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto kicked the door open, followed by Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. What is it, Naruto? Kakashi asked, turning to his student. Naruto waved a scroll in his hand. I've got one of those mission scrolls I've never seen before too, Databeo. Minato Namikaze's eyes narrowed sharply. This scroll also carried the fluctuations of space-time ninjutsu. Chapter 019, Diverging Paths? The mission conflict between Minato's team and Kakashi's team. While Kakashi and Minato were discussing how altering the past might impact their future, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were packing their ninja gear in their room. Since this mission required leaving the village, their gear packs were standard Konoha issue. Before departure, their packs were identical: 1 Fuma shuriken, several kunai, dozens of shuriken, a first aid kit, rations, and so on. Perhaps because the pre-dinner conversation had been so heavy, the trio packed their gear in uncharacteristic silence. Then, Naruto found a familiar-looking mission scroll deep inside his pack. He nudged Sasuke. What's wrong with you, idiot? I was wondering, do you have one of these in your ninja pouch too? Sakura overheard their exchange and joined them. Then she and Sasuke both realized at the same time, wasn't this the scroll Naruto had found in Obito Uchiha's ninja pouch earlier that day? Sakura, Naruto. When did you steal this scroll from the 4th Hokage? No, Sakura, Naruto quickly explained. I found this in my own ninja pouch, really. I just wanted to ask if you and Sasuke had one too. His voice trailed off, a bit hurt. Sakura realized she'd misunderstood and quickly apologized. Sasuke firmly stated, "At least mine doesn't have that thing." "Same here, Sasuke-kun. I don't have that scroll either," Sakura added. Sasuke asked Naruto, "Did you check your ninja gear before we left?" According to the Ninja Academy's curriculum, after receiving mission supplies, you're supposed to inventory everything before departure. This serves two purposes: first, to know what's in your gear and simulate how to use it during the mission; second, to check if anything's missing or damaged. But Naruto, the bottom of the class slacker, no one could be sure he didn't sleep through his training at the academy. "I checked it thoroughly. That scroll definitely wasn't in there before we left," he said defensively. Sakura suggested, "Should we open it and see?" "Yeah." Naruto nodded. Under Sasuke and Sakura's watchful eyes, he untied the scroll's cord and spread it flat on the ground. What they saw next shocked them. Naruto grabbed the scroll and ran straight into the room where Kakashi-sensei and the fourth Hokage were discussing matters. Minato Namikaze immediately recognized the scroll Naruto was holding. It was identical to the one in Obito's ninja pouch. He sensed the same unique power of space-time ninjutsu emanating from it, causing him to approach with increased caution. Coincidentally, they had just been discussing Obito's scroll. Both scrolls were now laid out on the table, side by side. The top one was from Obito's ninja pouch. Its contents read: Mission rank SSS. Mission objective: kill the masked man. The bottom one was from Naruto's pouch. Its contents read: Mission rank SSS. Mission objective: rescue the masked man. Just as expected. Two scrolls that were almost identical, yet had completely opposite mission objectives. Both were SSS rank missions. Obito's required killing the masked man, while Naruto's required rescuing him. Are we supposed to kill him or save him, Dadabayo? Naruto scratched his head. Were they really supposed to go against the fourth Hokage and their childhood sensei, Kakashi? Sasuke, speaking of which, who exactly is this masked man we're supposed to deal with in the mission? Could it be the ANBU from Kirigakure who took Zabuza away last time? Sakura suggested. Kakashi, Minato-sensei and I had that same theory. He moved his hand over the mission rank symbols on the scrolls and continued. But if the target is just that ANBU agent, none of us believe this mission would have been rated as high as SSS rank. He explained to his three students. D-rank missions, the ones you're most familiar with as genin, are simple tasks that don't require combat or present life-threatening danger. Most of the time, you don't even need to leave the village. I know, Naruto said, counting on his fingers the types of missions they'd done over the past half year. Like finding the daimyo's wife's cat, babysitting for a busy housewife, shopping with a rich lady, cleaning an old lady's yard. We've done way too many of those. Kakashi, exactly. These tasks usually pay between 5,000 and 50,000 ryo. C-rank missions carry a risk of injury, but they generally aren't life-threatening. Most of them involve personal protection duties, guarding against bandits, thugs, enforcers, or dangerous beasts. For example, Tazuna-san's original request was C-rank, with a bounty of 30,000 to 100,000 ryo. B-rank missions are more dangerous. The target may have hired ninja, or the target might be a ninja themselves. Combat is nearly guaranteed, and there's a high chance of injury or even life-threatening danger. This mission, for instance, is already beyond the scope of a standard C rank. Naruto nodded in agreement. Kakashi continued, the reward for these types of missions typically ranges from 80,000 to 200,000 ryo. Especially when dealing with rogue ninjas like Zabuza, even 200,000 ryo might not be enough. Sakura quietly calculated how much they might each receive if the current mission paid 200,000 ryo. A-rank missions are beyond your reach for now, Minato Namikaze added, picking up where Kakashi had left off. Especially since we're not at war. The village doesn't have many A-rank or higher missions available, and manpower isn't as stretched as it was in our time. Naruto asked him, Bro, are you guys really that short on people right now? Bro. Chapter 020, Naruto's SSS rank mission. What's it like to be called bro by your future son? Minato Namikaze smiled and accepted the nickname, genuinely happy to explain Ninja Academy knowledge to his future son. Because back then, during the Third Shinobi World War, Konoha and Iwagakure were deep in the conflict, suffering heavy casualties. People like Obito had just graduated from the academy, and they were quickly pushed to become Chunin and take on C rank and B rank missions. In teams like Kakashi's, if even one person became a Jonin, even though Obito, Kakashi, and Rin were still kids your age, they would have to head to the battlefield and carry out A-rank missions independently. Minato took the chance to explain the scope of A-rank missions. A-rank missions are all about the interests and conflicts between ninja villages or even entire nations. To put it bluntly, they're war-related missions. Typically, A-rank missions involve stealing or escorting crucial intelligence tied to a ninja nation or village, protecting high-ranking individuals vital to the village or nation, or eliminating enemy ninja forces. The rewards for these missions typically range from 150,000 to 1 million ryo. 1 million ryo? Naruto exclaimed, wide-eyed. My Gamachan couldn't possibly hold that much money even if it stuffed itself to bursting, I'm telling you. Gamachan? Minato asked, confused. Naruto pulled out his frog wallet to show him. He was fond of this fourth Hokage guy. Of course, he wasn't about to mention the monster sealed in his belly. If he did, he'd probably have to punch him as a thank you. Then he watched as the fourth Hokage gently ruffled his hair, his blue eyes smiling kindly. Good habit, saving up mission pay. Well done. Of course I do, Naruto replied proudly. But that brief touch felt strangely off. It wasn't the same as when Grandpa Hokage ruffled his hair, and while it was somewhat like when Iruka-sensei did it, it still felt different. Sasuke also sensed something slightly wrong but couldn't pinpoint it. Sakura, what about S-rank missions? Minato, S-rank missions usually involve matters of life or death for a nation. For example, ninja might be requested to participate in wars by their own or other countries, or they might be tasked with assassinating key figures whose deaths could alter the course of a nation's politics. They could also involve escorting secrets that might decide the outcome of a war. The rewards start at 1 million ryo, with no upper limit. The three kids' eyes widened in shock. No upper limit? Then how many A-rank and S-rank missions has the fourth Hokage completed? Sakura asked, unable to hold back her curiosity. Minato gave a shy smile. I'm not the fourth Hokage yet. I've completed 122 D-rank missions, 147 C-rank missions, 216 B-rank missions, 301 A-rank missions, and 30 S-rank missions. Unsurprisingly, he was met with admiring gazes from his future son and his friends. Minato felt quite pleased. Naruto, what about Kakashi-sensei? D-rank missions, 197. C-rank missions, 190. B-rank missions, 414. A-rank missions, 298. S-rank missions, 42. 42 S-rank missions? That's even more impressive than the fourth Hokage, Databeo. The trio's attention immediately shifted from Minato Namikaze to Kakashi. Sakura, so Kakashi-sensei isn't just some ordinary delinquent jonin? Hey Sakura, can you cut me some slack in front of Minato-sensei? Kakashi glanced at Minato Namikaze. Minato-sensei is only 20 now, 5 years younger than me. He still has time to take on more A-rank and S-rank missions before becoming Hokage. Naruto, wait. Does that mean the fourth Hokage-sama and Kakashi-sensei are both super rich? Minato thought for a moment before smiling. I suppose you could say we're quite well off. But Kakashi-sensei is super stingy, Naruto complained to the fourth Hokage. He's never even treated us to ramen. Kakashi scowled. Enough with the complaints. I'll treat you guys later. Success. Naruto grinned like a chubby little fox cub, his plan having worked. The group got back on track. Minato and I suspect this SSS rank mission involves a critical threat to the entire ninja world, Kakashi said. Minato-sensei, if the masked man in these scrolls is the Kirigakure ninja we encountered a few days ago, then he's hiding an even more terrifying identity, that of a future figure destined to shape the entire ninja world's fate. But... He stared at the two scrolls on the table. The masked man? Should he be killed? Or saved? Also, did the person who brought them to this future world intend for them to learn the future's course and decide earlier how to handle the masked man? Or was it just the same theory of multiple outcomes within a single world? If he knew that the future would bring an extremely formidable enemy, one who could travel back in time and kill his parents before his birth, then, if he could protect the entire world, it might be better to nurture him after his birth. While Minato hesitated, Naruto asked a question. Hey, Kakashi-sensei, How much should a bounty for an SSS rank mission like this be? Exactly. They were all drawn in by the spatial power and the SSS rank mission on the scroll. But they had forgotten a very simple question. To put it plainly, how much are we getting paid for this mission? In ninja villages, missions are accepted and assigned by the Hokage. While ninjas cannot refuse a mission once it has been accepted, the Hokage does have the authority to reject a mission if the information provided by the client is inconsistent with reality, if the mission fee is far below the standard rate, or if the risk is so high that no ninja can guarantee its completion. Additionally, for highly sensitive and significant missions, clients usually demand exorbitant fees along with a penalty clause. Yet these two SSS rank mission scrolls were shockingly vague, either the mission fee nor the penalty clause were clearly stated. The client's location was also left blank. TSK. Dwelling on this won't help. We'll just have to take it step by step. Minato Namikaze rolled up both scrolls again, handing Naruto his copy back. Besides, I'm curious why one scroll ended up in Obito's ninja pouch and the other in Naruto's. Naruto, maybe it's because both Obito and I have dreams of becoming Hokage? Sakura immediately shot back, like that's possible, you idiot. Anyway, that's enough for today. He ruffled Naruto's hair again. Good kids need to get ready for bed. As their sensei, he also needed to go comfort Obito and the others. Naruto nodded obediently, heading off to prepare for a bit more training before showering and going to bed. Not just Sasuke and Sakura, but even he was surprised by how obedient he was being. Maybe it was because the other person was the fourth Hokage? Tobi-chan, feeling down? A voice, almost human, emerged as a head poked out of the soil, followed by a bizarre, white mud-like humanoid form. A voice, almost human, emerged as a head poked out of the soil, followed by a bizarre, white mud-like humanoid form. I told you, call me Madara or Tobi. One more mistake and I'll cut you down. White Setsu. The man wearing an orange mask sat in the darkness, preparing to meet with Pain and Konan shortly. Though he didn't need to attend Akatsuki's full meeting to control Pain, or rather, that kid Nagato's actions, he needed to hold a smaller meeting with Pain and Konan before Pain addressed the entire group. Yes, Madara-sama. White Setsu twisted its form, fully emerging from the ground. You seem in a foul mood. Might I tell you a few jokes to lighten your spirits? Not necessary. Every joke you tell is dead cold. The masked man replied. You're right, I am in a foul mood. Stay away from me. Madara's voice was chilling. White Setsu didn't want to make things worse, so he gave a nod and prepared to retreat back into the ground. Wait. Any further orders, Madara-sama? Tell Pain and Konan that I'm tied up with something. Let them proceed with the meeting without me this time. Understood. White Setsu obediently retreated back into the ground to carry out Madara's command. The masked man remained seated. Through the single eye hole in his mask, his foul mood was unmistakable. The crimson glow of his Mangekyo Sharingan was unsettling in the darkness. Why did I have such a strange dream? Is it because I've waited so many years that I'm starting to grow impatient? Obito questioned himself mentally. He had intended to rest briefly before the meeting, as he planned to meet Itachi afterward. That boy was cunning. Without utmost vigilance, he'd easily detect any slip. But during those 10 minutes of shallow sleep, he had experienced an utterly absurd dream. In the dream, he hadn't died at the Canopy Bridge. Rin had always stayed by his and Kakashi's side. Later, Kakashi joined ANBU. Rin became a doctor at Konoha Hospital. He himself became the teacher of Minato-sensei and Fugaku's child. Just wait a little longer. Once the infinite Tsukuyomi is completed, all the beautiful dreams will come true. Rin, Minato-sensei, Kushina-san, and the Uchiha clan, they'll all live in that world of happiness. The hero won't have regrets, won't have to stand alone before the memorial stone in repentance anymore. Wait for it, Kakashi. This time, I'll accomplish what even you couldn't do. He stood up. White Setsu, who had relayed the message to Nagato and Konan, returned to his side. Where are you going? Kirigakure. Oh, it's about time to give Yagura Karatachi a new hint. Tobi really dislikes the ninjas of Kirigakure because they do your job. White Setsu. Obito cut White Setsu off, vanishing into the vortex in his right eye. Chapter 22, Masked Man and Obito Uchiha. Who is the fourth Mizukage? Land of Waves. Deep within the dark forest stood a strange, honeycomb-shaped structure. It was the hideout of Zabuza Momochi and his companion, former ninjas from the Land of Water. The ninjas from Kirigakure are utterly useless. They can't even deal with the lowlifes their subordinates let slip through. And they call themselves demon ninjas? What a joke! Gato, their client, swaggered arrogantly towards Zabuza, who was lying on a bed, recovering from his injuries. He even tried to humiliate him by reaching out. Smack! Haku swiftly grabbed Gato's hand before it could reach Zabuza, applying a bit of pressure. Ah! My hand! It's broken! It's broken! The two rogue ninjas trailing Gato, seeing their boss injured, immediately drew their swords from their waists. But before they could react, Haku's body flicker technique had already placed him behind them, his hands gripping the hilts of both blades. Smack! He slammed the unsheathed blades back into their scabbards. So fast. You'll pay for this. One of the rogue ninjas, frightened by Haku's speed and presence, threatened as he quickly turned and ran. Don't do anything unnecessary, Haku. In truth, Zabuza had already gripped his kunai tightly. Had Gato come even an inch closer, he would have struck. Haku smiled lightly. We must hold back for now. If we kill Gato here, and the Kirigakure ANBU find our hideout, they'll be on us in no time. That's true. Zabuza's face darkened. That damned fourth Mizukage! He'll pay for this one day. Zabuza had once attempted a coup against the fourth Mizukage, but he had underestimated his opponent's strength. To avoid the relentless pursuit of the fourth Mizukage and his assassination squad, Zabuza had fled to the Land of Waves, hiding, recovering, and gathering resources while waiting for his next chance to strike back. Haku sat beside Zabuza's large bed, a faint smile on his face. No matter where or when, I'll always follow you. Humph. There's no need to keep saying such empty words. Zabuza turned his face away. Haku's smile brightened. I believe you'll eventually change the situation in the Land of Water. The Land of Water had closed its borders for over a decade, and the infamous blood mist had cast a dark shadow over the ninja world for years. The outside world knew little about the Land of Water, less even than the Land of Waves. Under the tyranny of the fourth Mizukage, destitution plagued the common people, and countless Kekkei Genkai users had been brutally oppressed. Deserters, if captured, often ended their own lives to avoid the fourth Mizukage's cruel punishments. Those who didn't have the chance to take their own lives before falling into his hands were unlikely to ever get that chance again. Haku believed that if Zabuza could successfully spark a coup, overthrow Yugura Karatachi, and install a new Mizukage, he could surely restore the Land of Water to its former glory. On the other side, at the client's residence, the Tazuna household, Minato ascended to the second floor. After knocking several times with no response, he pushed the door open, only to find that all three disciples were absent. Climbing through the window and onto the roof, he found the trio sitting there, as expected. But none of them spoke, merely sitting beneath the moonlight, staring out at the vast ocean that seemed to stretch on forever. Being in Konoha all the time, you rarely get to see scenery like this, huh? Minato commented. Minato-sensei. Rin was the first to react, greeting him. Kakashi followed suit. Obito clearly wiped away his tears after pushing his goggles aside before finally turning around. Minato, failing to protect you in this future is my failure. Obito. The three of them knew it wasn't Minato-sensei's fault. After all, their time was one of constant war, where they saw ninjas returning to Konoha every day, carrying the wounded, or even the dead. But dying like this still felt unbearable. Rin hesitated for a moment, then softly asked, Minato-sensei, are you truly set on not changing this future? Obito and Kakashi both turned to Minato with urgency in their eyes. They had all heard him say that once they found a way back, he would use Fuinjutsu to erase everyone's memories. Seeing Minato remain silent, Obito shouted in frustration, then what was the point of us coming to the future? Doesn't that make it completely pointless? I'm begging you to. Why not try to change this future? Kakashi, who usually complained about Obito holding him back, had never imagined how lifeless he would become after losing him, like that slacker downstairs. Kakashi, isn't this very opportunity to see the future a gift in itself? Minato-sensei. If he could return to the past, what would he do? He would stop his father from rescuing that comrade, ensuring he completed his mission and remained alive as Konoha's hero by his side. Minato sighed and shared his understanding of space-time ninjutsu with them. If we alter the future, everything in this world could be wiped out in an instant. That's why I approach this with such caution. The three understood the gravity of the situation. After all, their own survival seemed insignificant in comparison to the fate of the entire world. Erasing the happiness of an entire world just to save themselves, they couldn't bring themselves to be that selfish. Minato, but we still have time before we find a way back. Until then, I'll focus on unraveling the rules of this space-time power. He waved the scroll in his hand. This scroll contains the same space-time energy that brought us here. Give me more time, and I'll figure out its patterns. Obito had also considered this. We still need to return to complete the mission at Canopy Bridge. If we don't, Konoha's disaster will only grow worse. The Canopy Bridge was Iwa's supply line. If more IWA ninjas infiltrated the Land of Fire through it, the consequences would be unthinkable. It's commendable that you have such selflessness, Minato praised them before handing Obito his scroll. Obito, Minato-sensei, weren't you planning to study the space-time chakra within? I've already committed that power to memory. Once we're back at the village, I'll combine it with the Flying Thunder God technique for calculations. Obito nodded, unrolling the scroll. He was going to think more about the SSS rank mission and try to figure out who the masked man really was. But to his shock, a new mission had appeared in the blank space at the end of the scroll, right after the SSS rank 1. What the hell is this? Obito shouted. Why do I have to impersonate the fourth Mizukage and talk to that Zabuza? I don't even know who the fourth Mizukage is, what he looks like, or what his personality is like. Chapter 23, Unsealing the Seal, an A-rank mission with no mission payment. Minato's expression changed instantly. He immediately grabbed the mission scroll that had just been handed to Obito. Rin and Kakashi leaned in to take a look. The scroll, which had originally contained only an S-rank mission, now unmistakably had an additional A-rank mission. Mission Rank A. Mission details: disguise yourself as the fourth Mizukage and converse with Zabuza Momochi. The mission is rated A-rank, meaning it has a certain level of difficulty and involves aspects of international conflict, Kakashi's youthful voice recited, following the protocol mechanically. Obito, seriously, man. Can't you focus on something besides the rules? The mission says I have to impersonate the fourth Mizukage. I don't even know who the fourth Mizukage is or what he looks like. How am I supposed to impersonate him? Obito, how did you know this mission was for you? Rin asked curiously. Huh. Obito Uchiha responded matter-of-factly, since this mission scroll was specifically placed in my ninja pouch and doesn't explicitly say who should take it, it must be meant for me, right? Rin chuckled. That really fits your character, Obito, always wanting to help anyone in need. Obito flushed slightly at her teasing. Kakashi grumbled, that's why trouble always finds this idiot. What did you say? Stupid Kakashi. Talking about you, got a problem? Bottom of the class. Rin quickly stepped between them. Enough. Let's hear what Minato-sensei has to say first. Amid their bickering, the trio momentarily forgot their earlier disappointment, now fully engrossed in the scroll's mystery. Minato examined the scroll repeatedly. The instant Obito opened it, I sensed a sudden surge in the space-time energy within. Yet now, that power is slowly fading. Obito, is it because I opened the scroll? I believe so, Minato replied. This scroll feels as though it contains countless fuinjutsu, beyond even my ability to decipher. They've sealed away the contents, only to be unlocked when the time is right. So this content was written beforehand? We can't be certain yet, but as Obito said, since this new mission appeared after he opened the scroll, and the scroll was originally found in his bag, it's quite possible this mission is meant for him to complete. Obito deliberately glanced at Kakashi. Hear that? He waved the mission scroll in his hand. I'm taking this A-rank mission. Call me Captain Obito, stupid Kakashi. Pfft. What kind of captain are you? Just a chunin. I say I am. This is an A-rank mission. And what's wrong with being a chunin? Are jonin so great? It doesn't even specify the mission fee. What kind of A-rank mission is that? Idiot. Of course jonin are better than chunin. Stupid. After a moment of silence, Obito stubbornly insisted, it's still an A-rank mission even without the reward. Didn't you hear Minato-sensei say? The rest is sealed. Maybe once I complete it, I'll see the reward. Humph, young Kakashi shrugged. Keep clinging to your naivety. Obito was so infuriated he stomped his foot. Seeing their interaction, Rin whispered to Minato, "Great, they'd perked up again." Minato looked slightly surprised, then gathered his thoughts and asked, "Rin, aren't you afraid? Because based on this future they were in, she would die too." "I am," she replied. "But compared to us leaving one by one, isn't Kakashi, left behind alone, even more pitiful? Sensei." "Yes." Had he not met Kakashi, who was several years older, Minato believed he could never have imagined that Kakashi, after years of hardship and the trials of life, would become someone who resembled both Rin and Obito Uchiha. No longer wielding a ninja blade or practicing Hataki Kenjutsu, he now relied on Sharingan eyes his body couldn't adapt to. Endless excuses for his chronic tardiness. Even the way he sometimes looked at Naruto seemed like he was recalling the Obito from his memories. Mentioning Naruto, Minato remembered to tell them. "Oh, right. There's something I need to tell you." Obito and Kakashi, who had been tugging at each other's collars, turned to look at him. "Minato, a mission scroll suddenly appeared in Naruto's ninja pouch too." Rin froze. "Naruto-chan?" Whether it was because Naruto seemed smaller or because she subconsciously compared herself and the adult Kakashi as Naruto's teacher, Rin liked to call him Naruto-chan. Not having a younger brother herself, she couldn't help but feel a strong urge to dote on him like a little brother. "Yes." Minato nodded and then told them about the SSS rank mission on Naruto's scroll. "Rescue the masked man? But that conflicts with our mission?" Chapter 24, Obito is not the underdog, he is my hero. How could this happen? Obito rubbed his head. Are we really going to compete with Kakashi's students for missions? The Hokage would never assign two conflicting missions. So, ninjas didn't need to worry about receiving a protection mission while another ninja in the same village gets a corresponding assassination mission. Minato, clearly, whoever posted this mission scroll doesn't care about our safety the way the Hokage does. Could this be someone's prank? Kakashi asked. The only person who could access both Obito's and Naruto's ninja pouches, the only suspect he could think of was the mission's client. As an ordinary person with low visibility, they could have slipped the scroll into their pouches while the group was distracted meeting people from the future. And weren't they the ones with a grudge against the masked man, the one who took Zabuza? Minato shook his head. They're ordinary people. They couldn't possibly possess space-time ninjutsu or fuinjutsu more refined than mine. Besides, bringing us to the future itself is an incredibly improbable feat. Obito, could it be that the masked man we're supposed to kill isn't the same one Naruto and the others are trying to save? With so many masked men in this world, it's unlikely they're all the same, right? Kakashi, but how many of them do you think could qualify for an SSS rank mission? Even one would be terrifying enough. Minato gazed at the moonlit sky. That's enough for today. I estimate Zabuza will need about another week to recover. We have plenty of time for intensive training. Intensive training? Our village has been severely understaffed during this period, leaving little time to train you properly. Now that we have the chance, I've decided to intensify your combat simulation drills. Sensei. So that means, even though we shouldn't alter the future, he wants to use this special training to give us one more shot at survival? And Obito, Minato suddenly added, I want to test what happens if we complete the mission in the scroll. Please cooperate with me to finish the A-rank mission you have. But I've never met the fourth Mizukage, Minato-sensei. It's fine. I've met him before. I'll teach you to mimic his mannerisms and tone using the transformation technique. Then, you can use that technique to talk to Zabuza. Kakashi muttered, if this idiot can even pass transformation class. TCH. What did you say? Minato and Rin stepped in to separate them. All right, it's bedtime for good children now. Rin suddenly remembered something. Minato-sensei. About Naruto-chan, could it be that her sharp mind had already pieced together the clues hinting at the connection between Naruto and Minato-sensei? Minato blinked and made a SHHH gesture toward Rin. Rin's eyes suddenly lit up. Really? Really? Minato-sensei. It's true. I confirmed it with Kakashi. But he doesn't know about it himself, so don't tell Naruto, okay? Okay. The two of them were speaking in riddles, making Kakashi and Obito exchange a glance, both curious about what they were talking about. But Rin refused to tell them, leaving Obito so anxious he couldn't even sleep. The next day, Team Minato and Team Kakashi had breakfast at the Tazuna family's house in the Land of Waves before heading into the forest for special training. Kakashi was planning to teach Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura how to climb trees and walk on water. Meanwhile, Minato arranged combat drills for his students, focusing especially on enhancing Obito and Rin's survival skills, counterattack techniques, and evasion abilities. Young Kakashi found all of this too simple. After his future self finished teaching his students, he approached him and asked, "Have you thought of a way to overcome the drawbacks of Raikiri?" Earlier, while practicing Raikiri, Minato-sensei had once again forbidden him from using this incomplete ninjutsu. Kakashi looked at his younger self. "I have found a way, but it will make you regret it for the rest of your life." "Tell me what it is first." Kakashi glanced at the young Obito training relentlessly. "At the Battle of Canopy Bridge, Obito sacrificed himself to save me during the IWA ambush. Before dying, he gave me this Sharingan as a Jonin gift, enabling me to complete the S-rank lightning release technique, Raikiri." Young Kakashi was stunned. Although he already knew Obito died in this future, giving him his Sharingan? How could it be? "Kakashi, in our world's history, Obito also awakened his Sharingan to save me." "So Obito isn't the class dunce in this world?" Young Kakashi looked completely bewildered. Surely he wasn't so useless that he needed to be saved by a class dunce? "Obito isn't the dunce. He's my hero." "Kakashi, come here for a moment," Minato called out. Both Kakashis approached him. Minato's sweat dropped. I only meant to call the older Kakashi over. You two really are hard to tell apart." Obito quipped, "How about we just call this little one Kakashi-chan then?" He patted the shoulder of the Kakashi who was a year or two younger than him. "Let go! You're the one who should be called Obito-chan." The older Kakashi pulled them apart and asked Minato-sensei what he needed. "You're the one here most familiar with the Sharingan, so I'd like you to help train Obito." Obito had skipped the single Tomo stage and awakened 2 Tomo right after his first awakening. He clearly possessed talent, but it had been stifled by a lack of proper training methods. Only finding the right training approach could help him improve. Kakashi was naturally more than willing. But someone was not. If Kakashi-sensei is training Obito, then who's going to train us, Databeo?" Though Naruto's words sounded displeased, his little eyes hinted at something else entirely. Minato and Kakashi exchanged glances, both spotting a hint of amusement in each other's eyes. "Then I'll take over your training." Minato's tone remained as polite as ever. This allowed Naruto's scheme to succeed, while leaving Sakura and Sasuke utterly astonished. "You're kidding? The 4th Hokage-sama himself is going to guide our training?" Chapter 25, Minato Namikaze personally trains Naruto and Sasuke. Spoiling Naruto. Then we'll start by training in the most fundamental chakra control techniques, tree climbing and water walking ninjutsu. Minato Namikaze addressed the 3 students of Kakashi's class. Zabuza should need about a week to recover. So if you can master chakra-assisted tree climbing within 4 days, you'll have about 2 days left to learn water walking. Once you've mastered climbing trees with chakra, water walking will be much easier. So don't rush it, focus on perfecting your chakra control first. Naruto nodded vigorously. First, extract chakra from the 40 trillion cells throughout your body. Use your physical and mental energy to maintain chakra balance, then focus your mind to gather the chakra at your feet. While Minato taught, not just Sasuke and Sakura, but even Naruto sat with unusual focus. "That must be the sensei's natural charisma," Kakashi sighed. "The kids always cause trouble during my lessons." Obito tilted his head at him. "Who would have thought your sharp tongue actually healed? I still can't picture you as that clumsy Kakashi I knew." Kakashi couldn't resist using his height advantage to ruffle Obito's hair. "Because I made so many mistakes and learned many painful lessons, I finally recognized my faults. Changing was only natural, right?" "Hey! Don't touch my head, you jerk! Just thinking about you being that dumb Kakashi makes me cringe." Sorry. Kakashi pulled back the forehead protector covering his left eye, revealing his 3 Tomo Sharingan. Obito also concentrated, imagining the sensation of opening his eyes, and instantly revealed his own 2 Tomo Sharingan. "For some reason, I think you'd look pretty good with red Sharingan eyes too." Obito stared at Kakashi's eyes and blurted out without thinking. A vague thought lingered in his mind, one he couldn't quite grasp. He had awakened a two-tomo Sharingan. After his death, his eyes were placed in Kakashi. Could they still upgrade to 3-tomo? By the way, Kakashi, were your eyes already 3-tomo when you got them? They were 2-tomo when I got them. Then tell me, under what circumstances did yours become 3-tomo? During the most desperate moment. Despair? Obito thought for a moment. It seemed he too had awakened his Sharingan out of despair after seeing a vision in his dream that plunged him into hellish despair. Could it be that the condition for awakening is imagining something utterly despairing? Obito wondered if he should add a meditation session to his nightly routine. Kakashi pulled out a scroll containing over 1,000 shuriken. Perhaps because Obito always had an unyielding spirit during his training with Kakashi, he focused with unprecedented intensity during the exercise of dodging shuriken attacks using his Sharingan. The results, as Minato had predicted, showed remarkable progress. Rin learned self-defense techniques from young Kakashi. Her results weren't outstanding, but she did make some progress. During lunch break, Sakura saw Rin treating small cuts on Obito's body caused by shuriken. Noticing Sasuke also had minor scrapes, she shyly approached her and asked if she could teach her medical ninjutsu too. Naruto chuckled upon hearing this and immediately joined in, hoping Sakura would learn to heal him too. Ever since Rin learned Naruto was the son of Minato and Kushina, she regarded him as a little prince, someone who absolutely had to be spoiled. She readily agreed to teach Sakura medical ninjutsu. Minato, Sakura has the finest chakra control. She should be exceptionally suited for medical ninjutsu. Really? Hearing praise from the legendary fourth Hokage, Sakura could scarcely believe it. Minato nodded with a smile. You've completed your tree climbing training. Now follow Rin to learn medical ninjutsu. During her sessions, you can practice independently with the missions she assigns. In contrast, Naruto and Sasuke felt a bit down. Sakura could climb a 20-meter tree independently after just one demonstration from the fourth Hokage, while they could barely make it 7 or 8 meters before having to jump down. Fourth Hokage Naruto started using his whining tactic. Isn't there any way you could help Sasuke and me learn faster? Though he disdained Naruto acting like a child with the fourth Hokage, Sasuke also quietly pricked up his ears to listen. Minato, there are no shortcuts in training. The reason you and Sasuke find it harder than Sakura is because the chakra within you is greater. That makes it naturally more difficult to break the balance. Sasuke and Naruto froze. Chakra reserves? Naruto asked, confused. Sasuke, you idiot! It's the vitality stat. Vitality? Did you sleep through every class at the Ninja Academy? You're a complete moron. Watching their exchange, Minato couldn't help but recall the times when he tutored Kushina when she was younger. Ninjutsu, physical strength, genjutsu, intelligence, stamina, speed, chakra volume, and hand seals. Minato explained, these are the 8 ninja attributes established by the second Hokage. They correspond to ninjutsu, stamina, genjutsu, intelligence, strength, speed, chakra volume, and hand seal speed. Each is scored from 0 to 10, based on estimated data from your combat experience. Naruto buried his face in his hands. I hate talking about grades. Minato smiled. Both of you should score at least 8 points in chakra volume. Especially Naruto, even though he inherited my hair and eye color, that surging chakra volume was undoubtedly inherited from Kushina's bloodline. Sasuke recalled, I remember my Ninja Academy potential test scores, 10, 7, 8, 7, 7, 9, 7, 3, total, 63. Quite elite results, Minato praised. The Academy predicted your spiritual energy at 7, but I believe you have greater potential, and Naruto too. One day, you might even surpass Kakashi and me in chakra reserves. Hearing Minato's words, Sasuke stared at Naruto, surprised. Naruto's eyes shone brightly. He had rarely received affirmation from others since childhood. Throughout his training and the Ninja Academy curriculum, he had always been criticized as the bottom of the class, the one holding everyone back. No one had ever so clearly guided his training steps or given him confidence and encouragement with such a tone of recognition during practice. This feeling. Naruto licked his dry lips. It felt as if the long-dried well within him, the one sealed by the Hokage grandfather, forbidding questions about his parents, had finally begun to well up with clear, spring water. All right, once you've rested, we'll continue with the afternoon tree climbing training. Inspired by the fourth Hokage's encouragement, Naruto and Sasuke rallied, repeatedly running up the tree only to tumble back down. Don't release all your chakra at once, that'll only make you break the trunk. Minato watched the two boys leap down again and explained. Think of your limbs like a gecko's suction cups or a spider's claws. Maintain an equal amount of chakra throughout your body, allowing any part touching the trunk to adhere instantly. He leapt onto a tree, using chakra at his fingertips to hang himself from it, or concentrating chakra on his back to cling to the trunk and conceal his form. Had they not known the fourth was there beforehand, suddenly searching for him in this forest would have made him incredibly hard to spot, even right under their noses. Because he blended so seamlessly with the tree trunk, the most dangerous spot became the safest. Amazing! Absolutely incredible! After Minato's explanation, they no longer rushed headlong into the trees. Instead, they practiced evenly distributing chakra throughout their entire bodies, then slowly and steadily channeling it into their feet. Both sensed it simultaneously. Their eyes snapped open. Thud! One foot planted on the tree. Then the second foot took a step upward. Immediately after, the first leg crossed over the second and took another step up. One step. Another step. Yet another step. Until, in one determined push, they reached the treetop. Sakura stared at them in astonishment, her eyes widening in disbelief. You're kidding me? Just hearing the fourth Hokage tell us once, and you climbed this high. Minato smiled. This is also connected to their relentless practice this morning, trying to project their chakra outward. There really are no shortcuts in training, but finding the right method is crucial. Naruto, overcome with excitement, slipped while bouncing on the tree. That was a tree over 40 meters tall. The fall would be catastrophic. Minato, speaking to Sakura with his back turned, didn't see it happen, but when he caught Sakura's face turning pale in an instant, he whipped around immediately. As Naruto screamed in terror, Minato drew his Flying Thunder God technique Kunai. Simultaneously, Sasuke leapt from another tree to grab Naruto's ankle. But Sasuke's foot was just under 3 centimeters too far from the branch. Both boys tumbled downward together. Minato's Flying Thunder God technique Kunai had already been thrown. Swish! Like a golden flash streaking past. Naruto and Sasuke found themselves caught in the arms of someone on either side. Turning to look, the fourth Hokage's face was indistinct against the backlight, but the overwhelming aura emanating from his ice-blue eyes sent shivers down their spines. He held the thrown Flying Thunder God technique Kunai in his mouth, guiding them both to a safe landing. Phew, that was too dangerous. In the next moment, Minato returned to his usual polite and incredibly likable demeanor. Sasuke and Naruto, however, remained frozen for a few seconds, still in shock. Are you hurt? Minato crouched down in front of Naruto, looking him directly in the eyes as he asked. And no. Naruto felt like he might have been genuinely startled, his heart still racing and not quite back to normal. Minato ruffled his hair. That's good. Sasuke-kun, you're not hurt either, right? I'm fine. Then you two rest for now. I need to teach Obito how to complete the mission on that scroll. Minato Namikaze walked over to the young Kakashi and Obito. Sakura, who had also screamed in shock earlier, hurried over. First, she scolded Naruto with concern, then shyly asked Sasuke if he was hurt. Sasuke didn't respond. He just stared at the fourth Hokage's retreating figure, lost in thought. Sakura, always eager to talk to him, tried to find a topic. I feel like the fourth Hokage really cares about Naruto in a special way. Chapter 27, Naruto, could my mom and dad have been friends with the fourth Hokage? Naruto froze upon hearing Sakura's words. Huh? Really? Yes. The voice belonged to none other than Sasuke Uchiha, the second young master of the Uchiha clan, who rarely indulged in gossip, appeared cold as ice, and carried the weight of a 3-ton idol persona. Even that idiot Sasuke says so? Naruto whimpered in disbelief. Sakura, see, I told you so. Naruto squinted his eyes, deep in thought, before arriving at an astonishing conclusion. The fourth Hokage knew Sasuke's parents, right? Sasuke, impatient, so what? Naruto, you're the same age as me. Could it be that the fourth Hokage was actually Sakura and Sasuke, actually is? Could he be my parents' good friend too? For some reason, Sasuke and Sakura almost instinctively stumbled backward. Sasuke's voice sounded slightly exasperated, or perhaps frustrated with Naruto's lack of understanding. Do you even know who your parents are? Sakura, Sasuke-kun is right. If you knew who your parents were, you could go ask him. Naruto, usually so loud and boisterous, suddenly fell silent, leaving Sakura and Sasuke feeling a bit uneasy. What's wrong, you big idiot? Maybe we shouldn't ask after all. Huh? Sasuke and Sakura were confused. I was just joking. Let's drop this topic, okay? Naruto stood up and moved to the other side to rest. Not too far away, Rin stole a glance, feeling a bit worried about Kushina's child. Boom! Minato Namikaze used the shadow clone technique to create a shadow clone, which then transformed into a child with a gray-green head and a vertical scar stitched across the left side of his face. The child held a strange black double-groove staff, one end of which bore a green flower. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura followed the gaze. Obito asked curiously, Minato-sensei, didn't you say you'd teach me how to impersonate the fourth Mizukage? The child's voice sounded innocently childlike. That's right. I am the fourth Mizukage, Yagura Karatachi. What? Obito gasped in shock. A kid our age? The fourth Mizukage? The shadow clone Yagura immediately jumped up. Who said I'm a kid? I'm the fourth Mizukage. I'm an adult. My son is about your age. Huh? Minato chuckled. Yagura is actually a bit older than me, so he really is an adult. The young Kakashi remarked sarcastically. He's so nitpicky and doesn't seem too bright either. Congrats, Obito. You can play yourself now. What? Obito stomped angrily. When did I ever look like this? Explain yourself. Right now. Watching the two start bickering again, Rin smiled helplessly, her expression tinged with affection for them both. Sakura sighed. These two argued more often than Naruto and Sasuke ever did. I still can't believe Kakashi-sensei is the same person as his childhood self. The difference is just too stark. Naruto, maybe it's just that our Kakashi-sensei doesn't roast us anymore. Yesterday, when he and his childhood self were exchanging jabs, he was pretty sharp-tongued, Dadabayo. Sasuke, Hey, is it really okay for you guys to badmouth your teacher here? Kakashi frowned, making a move to confront Naruto. Naruto didn't care at all, deliberately making a silly voice. Our current teacher is the fourth Hokage, bro hee. Ha. Minato Namikaze shielded Naruto behind him, clearly protecting him. Even his other two students looked on, sensing something was off. Obito, Minato-sensei actually plays favorites? Maybe he feels bad that you're both so slow, young Kakashi shrugged. He hardly ever scolds you when you're late, right? Rin, Kakashi, stop picking on Obito all the time. Sorry, can't help myself. Damn it! Stupid Kakashi, you. A black double-groove staff blocked Obito. The Yagura Karatachi, a shadow clone of Minato, interjected, enough. Let Obito complete his mission first. During lunch break, Minato Namikaze had already mentioned the extra mission added to Obito's scroll. He also had Naruto check his own scroll. But Naruto's scroll still only contained the single mission, rescue the masked man. Thus, while training in various fire-release ninjutsu and mastering the coordination of his Sharingan with taijutsu, Obito added another task, practicing transformation technique to impersonate the fourth Mizukage.